All right, what up, guys? We are live. So we got a fun little open panel for you guys with our favorite Kyla, i.e., not so erudite. We're going to discuss quite a few things. I think we'll talk about the Rolo Destiny debate, and yeah, it'll be a good time. All right, Kyla, you good on your end? Okay, but I can't hear you though. Oh, okay. All right, she needs a minute, I guess. I'm so curious what she's doing there. Imagine she's just like on Amazon shopping, like, no, I don't want this bag. This one, no, this is the wrong color. Refund it, refund it. Nick, I told you I want the blue bag, not the green one. All right. So anyway, let's see. We already got quite a few people in the Q&A. All right, what do we have here? Damn. All right, you guys fucking wrote essays before I joined in here. Most of it is just you guys bickering. Okay, I see bickering. Hearing a dude say vaginas are gross is the gayest shit I've ever heard. I do agree with that. If a guy doesn't like vagina, doesn't make him gay. I mean, to be fair, no, not necessarily. You could just think.
Yo, sorry about that. And yeah, I did want to get the blue bag, so correct.
Hey,
can you hear
what's
me?
going on? Llama blah.
Can't hear me. Hold on. Audio. Should be
I
able
love
to hear me.
muffins.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yo, I still can't hear you, Kyla. Oh wait, I think it's on my end.
Okay. There we go.
This is like a pattern. I always think that the issue is with the guest's audio, and then I realized I have it unmuted.
I was muted, in fairness, but yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so hello. Where should we even begin?
We're talking about. You said you wanted to talk about Rolo. I had suggested maybe covering a bit of TikToks or anything that's like got some cringy stuff.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, let's start off by just talking about the hot issue, I guess, which is a Rolo Destiny debate. So, what were your overall thoughts on that?
Which one? The live, the main
Yeah.
one, the one that you were bored by?
Yeah, the one that made me fall asleep.
Yeah, it was frustrating because it really ended up being a Destiny and Michael conversation, and not so much a Destiny and Rolo. So yeah, it was definitely not what we were like hoping for, because Rolo basically just hid behind Michael the whole time. Anytime he got into like any level of bind, Michael would just like jump in and like make shit up for him. Which, in fairness, power to Michael is a really good debater, but yeah.
He was pretty good. Yeah, I've had him on my channel debating other people. He's a pretty good debater, and he's also pretty normal and charismatic. So he was able to counterbalance all of Rolo's like weirdness and creepiness. Yeah, this is actually the conversation I had with Destiny afterwards. It's a pretty funny text I sent him. So let me see. I said, okay. I said, damn, bro, what happened last night? I was expecting a murder movie, and I saw a mild love story.
True.
He said they played it super chill. I can only match energy, or else I look unhinged, which is true, right? Because if he starts going really hard and they're like super chill, and does make him look bad.
I do suspect that Destiny could have directed the energy a little bit more, so he didn't need to like get angry, but he definitely probably could have tried to direct it, being like he could have had that meta conversation of like, Michael, why are you always like, Rolo, can you answer for yourself? Like, I just want to know what Rolo thinks. Like, there's probably a couple ways he could have tactically turned it back to Rolo, especially to kind of, at least if nothing else, paint to the audience clearly that Rolo is like here in spirit but not really here, to give Rolo like more of that optical L. But yeah, you definitely can't be like, Rolo, speak to me, and like getting unhinged. That would be very cringe.
Yeah, I think also that he focused on the wrong topics. Like he went very like academic, all academic on his ass. Well, this study from 2005 said this, right? But Red Pill audience doesn't really care about that. They're all about vibes. They're all about, yeah, who rages, right? So this is like, you're trying to have an intellectual discussion with an audience who doesn't give a shit about that. So what I would have focused on, which is what I told him, is to focus on the hypocrisy, because Rolo is the biggest hypocrite on the planet. I gave him like 4 or 5 different things he could hit him on. So that would be like, if I was debating Rolo, I would primarily like redirect everything back to hypocrisy. I'd be like, okay, you say this, but this you say you did here, there. Like, so just kind of circling everything back to hypocrisy. I guess I was like a little disappointed that he did not do that. Mm-hmm. I don't know if like the topics were pre-planned and he had no say in it. Like if it was like part of the condition that, hey, we only talk about these stuff. but I feel like the topics weren't designed to give Destiny the maximum potential to win the debate.
Well, right. Like the issue is that like Rolo Larps is being like the science guy, and so I think that's like why Destiny tried to go with that angle because as far as the science go, Rolo's taken L's every which way. Like he's just abandoned the science he wrote his book on. And so I think that was like the directionality. And the problem is like Rolo LARPs as a science guy. Rolo probably doesn't know like the first thing about like science philosophy. Does he even know what science is? Does he understand what falsifiability is? You know, like I don't know if he even knows like the basic precepts. And you're right, aesthetic wise, red pill guys don't care. They don't red pill guys care about the aesthetic of science more than they care about the practice of it.
They like the word science. So if you
Yeah,
if
they
you say
do.
blah 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 science facts, that makes it true. So they don't really actually care if this is scientifically valid or not. Like that doesn't matter to them. They're not looking at studies. They're not looking at research. They're not like investigating this stuff. They're like, oh well, this person on this podcast said this. He said the word science afterwards, so therefore it has to be red pill facts.
True. As long
Yeah.
as it validates their worldview, right? If you say it's science and then it like discredits their worldview, they're like, oh, that's probably bad science. And you're like, oh, okay, good job.
Well, I think also another big point is like the guy that Rolo relies on the most, David Buss, for his like research, no longer believes in all the stuff that he says. Like he's done a 180 on all those positions. So if like 90% of my arguments are based on one researcher and that researcher no longer believes that, then that like I don't know. I wish Destiny, I mean, he did bring that up. I wish he leveraged that more. It's like, yo, you're basing all your shit on this guy. He doesn't even believe that. What do you think David Buss would say if he was here right now? Do you think he would agree with you? What do you think David Buss would say in this situation? How do you think David Buss would respond to that? It's kind of another direction I would have gone in.
Yeah, it's interesting. Just because I actually like communicate a fair bit with like the Bus lab. I wouldn't say David Bus or anything, but I've had like one of the lab students like DMing me being like, "Oh my gosh, he's just like doesn't actually know who any of these people are." Like at one point, Rella was talking about how like one of the researchers is like trying to like stay true, whereas like Bus is like bowing out, and he's like outlining like some sort of like weird conspiracy within like different researchers. And it's like all of these people work in the exact same lab together. Like they're all coworkers. Like none of this conspiracy is happening. But of course, like Destiny doesn't know like the.
I'm so excited to get David Buss on. I've been emailing back and forth with him. He's down to come on. He just said he's been so busy with his new book that he'll come on afterwards. I can't wait to like ask him. So David, what do you think about Rolo?
Yeah. I was asking the student if he would get if Bus would be willing to just like come out and like denounce him, and he was like, "No, I don't think Bus like cares. He just thinks like all this is silly." And I'm like, "It is silly, but the problem is that like if you denounced him, it would literally like cut Rolo off at the knee. It wouldn't get rid of everyone because there's like some diehards that would just be like, Bus has been turned and Rolo's right, but probably
But
just
on the flip side, from David's perspective, like 95% of people who know who he is from Rolo. So that's like kind of like no outside of the academic community, no one knows who the fuck he is except for Rolo.
Yeah, I know.
So it's not in his best interest to denounce Rolo.
For David Buss?
Yeah.
That's not how academics work. He just doesn't care. He doesn't think any of this shit's real or that deep. Like David Buss assumes Rolo is just like a squawking small-time internet fry. And like academic world, I can't underscore to people how separate it is from like normie land. Like academics don't know shit about anything that like anyone in like normal land. Like most academics have never heard of like Fresh and Fit. It's rare that you'll find they'll usually know Tate, and that's about it. Like they're not going to know any of these names. They don't care about any of these topics. They're not interested in any of this stuff because academics live in academic land. Academics don't even know what working collar class people are like. They don't realize that like most people don't have a bachelor's degree. Most people who go to school unironically think that like plus 60% of the population has a bachelor's, which is not true. Most people don't have a bachelor's still today. So
I didn't even know that. Yeah, but I mean, I will agree. Yeah, they're in a whole different world. But there is like a bit of politics that comes into play with like academics. Like I was listening to what's his name, Lex Friedman's podcast, and he had on the dude, one of the dudes who was like involved in that like a book, you know, that book that gets a lot of shit from the 90s about race realism, right? And he was just
the bell curve.
Yeah, but he was just explaining that the authors don't actually believe that there's anything inherent about like Black people's genetics that makes them like that is responsible for this. He was just saying the authors don't know, and they have a whole chapter saying that like that's not what we believe, but how people take that book out of context. Basically, the point this guy was making is since that whole thing, you cannot do any kind of research on this topic because it will never get funded. And even if you do get funded, it'll get, yeah.
Because dumbasses, in this case, leftist dumbasses who don't understand science, just assumed a bunch of shit and got upsetty spaghetti, right? Like that book is the bane of IQ research, not because it's wrong. Nothing in it's wrong. It's because of what it's done to IQ researchers, where we've just like had to like they go underground now and like it's just crazy. It's craziness, which is why academics don't want to touch this world because y'all just try to fucking step all over their research and tell them what to do, and they just want to hide in their hole and do their science, and it's cringe. And I think there's a lot of problem with academics, but I understand their fear of social media because universities will kowtow to mass mobs and they don't want to lose their grant money. So
yeah. So what is your level of communication with David Buss? Like you're friends with his student, or what did you say?
Yeah. Just one of his students, and like I really want to like make sure to underplay like just communicating over Twitter. We've like done a little bit of like interactions and stuff, but like I by no means speak for the lab. I just think it's funny hearing Rollo talk about the lab because I suspect he's got an even more distant relationship with them.
Yeah, I'm really pumped to get him on. I think it's gonna be epic. I'll be like, so there's this dude that basically obsesses about your work and he talks about you nonstop. And he has a fucking beanie and he walks around at the age of 50. He's
but also
like,
discredits all of your new work.
Yeah, I know. I get it, Alex. So I wrote down actually because I was preparing. So I was doing a debate with Torsha, and I thought we were going to debate the Rollo thing. So I spent like 20, 30 minutes coming up with a list of all the things I disagree with Rollo on. And then Torsha told me last second that she doesn't want to talk about it at all. So I didn't get a chance to discuss this list. So I figured we can go through this because I think it's interesting. Because a lot of people say like, "Oh, Alex, well, what are your specific disagreements with Rollo? It sounds like you don't like him." No, I have like multiple. I'm going to outline 15 specific disagreements I have with him. Some of them are personal, some of them are ideological. So let's just go through these one by one. First one is his tendency to make false allegations. Rollo has a tendency of complaining, like most red pillars, about how false allegations are so bad, which is true. False allegations suck. But he has made false allegations against me and Abba and Preach, saying that we're being paid off by Anthony Johnson, right? That is a classical false allegation for which there's zero proof for and is obviously not true. And he has not only said it once.
I'm sorry.
He's like the shadowy figure that Rollo like basically thinks controls everything behind the scenes. No, he's just a dude who runs the 21 convention. He's just an event organizer, basically. Oh. Him and Rollo used to work together in 2017, and they fell apart. And he now blames everything that goes wrong on Anthony Johnson.
Okay, yeah, he's the boogeyman. He's the patriarchy.
He's the boogeyman. Yeah. So he has not only said that once; he said that like countless times that like I'm being paid off, blah blah blah. So I think that's a good first one. So second of all would be his claim that there's no quality women out there. How do you feel about that one, Kyla?
Sorry, we said it. I was reading a super chat on my side.
There's no quality women out there. How do you feel about that claim?
It is just okay. That's a lot of people. Like 4 billion people on the planet, not one of them, right? I'm speaking 50%. Right? I know there's 8 billion. I have a spicy super chat for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
One of my chatters said, "You're disappointed. I'm disappointed in Alex's take on the debate, saying it was a bunch of gay nerd crap. Shows an unwillingness to take topics seriously. Gay study is wrong due to my personal experience is a dumb argument."
That's a fair. Okay. Gay nerd crap is definitely something I would say. So I think that's not exactly what I was saying. I was saying that I don't think that by the way, I'm not dismissing like studies or science. I do think that studies, generally speaking, are much better than anecdotal evidence. The point I was making is that when it comes to dating and relationships, I don't think this is a debate that can be done thoroughly academically. Meaning, like, I think when you're discussing dating, especially, and you're going like, well, I have this study that says this, and you're going, I have this study that says that, right? I don't think you're actually going to get to the truth because I think this is a topic that's so hard to really analyze because it's all based on self-reported stuff, right? So we're relying on self-reported data, which is not that good. So I think that in combination with the studies, you also need to have a level of experience. And there was like some things that were being said throughout that debate, even one of them by Destiny, which I thought was like so blatantly false. But Destiny kind of had a study that showed that. But I would stake any amount of money that study was just way off. And again, it's all self-reported data. What?
Which study? The height one?
The height one and the BMI one. So yeah, he was basically saying that like there's really not a substantial difference in your body count numbers if you're like in good shape versus if you're obese or if you're short and versus you're tall.
The methodology of that study, I will just say, is pretty solid. Like it's a good study.
But is it self-reported?
I would have to check. Probably, I think all body count studies are self-reported. I think that's a pretty hard one to verify.
That's that'll be my issue with that one. But anyway, so to answer the question, so
Well,
yes, I just
just to be clear, self-report studies, we've done the research on self-report. They're pretty good. Like when we've done like self-reports and compared it to historiography, people tend to be really, really accurate. It's very rare that we see like lying, and typically when lying occurs, it's in like outlier factors. So you could oftentimes see when people are like being dishonest on self-reports.
I would venture to say that when it comes to body count, men will be motivated to lie because they don't want to be embarrassed.
Yeah, but the
Like
numbers
hell,
that they
when
got.
I was a kid, I used to lie about my body count. When I was a virgin, I used to say my body count was 3. Like everyone knows someone that lies about body count. Like I think
Only
that's a very sensitive
people.
issue.
That
What?
doesn't mean that they're lying on a anonymous self-report. Would you have lied? Were you so ashamed that in an anonymous self-report for science, you would lie about your body count on
Well, I've
it?
never done one, but yes, it's definitely possible. I was like really embarrassed
Would
about
you
that.
have?
I might have. I don't know.
I don't believe you.
I have to take myself back to my like 2008 self, right? So nowadays, no, but like back then, I don't know. Maybe,
I
maybe
don't know
not.
if I believe you. We have tested self-reports. The biggest issue with self-reports is people don't know themselves, right? So like when you say things like, "Are you an introvert or an extrovert?" It's like, who the fuck cares what people say they are? Like that doesn't matter. But when it comes to like historical accuracy about like their own personal experiences, they're just pretty accurate. Like we've done the testing because a valid criticism of self-report is, can we know that this is like true or not? And so we've
But
done the research to see.
how have we confirmed that self-reports are accurate? What's been
So
the
what you'll do is basically you'll get a population and you'll do like a trick study sometimes. So you get them to report like a bunch of demographic information, and then you act like you're doing a new study, and then you compare the self-reports to the actual. Or with certain individuals, you've been able to use like public available data to compare and contrast what they report versus what's actually like documented in the data. And it tends to like fall really, really closely similar.
but we've never verified specifically body count when it comes to studies that that's accurate.
Uh, you would have so you don't need to. What you would need to do is prove why it is the case that this self-report research that we have about the efficacy of self-reports is dissimilar specifically for body count, where they would lie about that, but they wouldn't lie about things like addiction and abuse history, because people will self-report like abusing partners, they'll self-report like cheating on partners, and be pretty honest. And so it's like these are all things that you're highly motivated to lie about as well, and yet they don't seem to on most of these studies.
They really don't when it comes to cheating. Like how do they verify that? I mean, how do you verify that like that self-report on cheating is accurate?
You would do like partner checks, or also like sometimes cheating is going to be documented in like divorce files, depending on the type of divorce. That's like, especially if it goes to the courts. Part of the reasons that you can give for divorce would be things like cheating.
I'd have to really go through that study. Actually, if you have it, could you send it to me?
The BMI one or the self-report study?
No, the BMI and the height one.
Okay, I was going to say the self-report study is like 50 plus studies. There's a lot of studies into self-report, but yeah, I can look in. I'll have to look it up. I forget which one it is. I think
I guess I would still say that like I just intuitive. Okay, like do you think that if you take a guy who's 6'2" and a guy who's 5'3", they're gonna have a similar body count?
I would assume intuitively no. But if like if a sample size study of 60,000 people finds that across countries, I'm more inclined to believe that. It does go against what I would believe, but that's like why science is based, is because sometimes we intuit things and we're wrong.
What about a guy who's 300 pounds versus a guy who's like 130 pounds or 160 pounds? Good weight.
So
No,
I think there was a statistical difference between BMI, between
it,
the
it was mild though. It
it
wasn't
was
like
mild but significant still.
yeah. But what the point I miss, I think that difference is I think in reality is much more. Like I don't think it's like a 20-30% difference. I think it's like 100% difference. I mean, this is
Yeah.
I know this is anecdotal as fuck, but I have coached all kinds of clients. I've coached short clients. I've coached tall clients. I've coached fat clients. I've coached non-fat clients. My sample size is pretty decent. I've coached well over 100 people, maybe even close to like 500, right? And there's definitely a difference, when they start working with me, if they're tall or they're short, if they're fat or if they're in good shape. There's definitely a difference in their body count. I have noticed that. There are, of course, exceptions and outliers. I have met short people who have a lot of sex. I don't know if I've ever met a really fat person who has a lot of sex. Oh, actually, yeah, my ex-business partner. So it does happen. But generally speaking, I have noticed that difference. So it's like, I don't know. I just don't trust that study for shit, honestly.
Okay. Let me see if I can find this one. I had it up the other day. Yeah.
So, wait, I feel like the whole point with me was to address that super chat. Did I address it, or is there more that I need to answer?
Sort of. I mean, you're still kind of doubling down and being like, yeah, but my anecdotal, like, I just am dubious of the study. And I think a lot of people are like, okay, but like,
Oh yeah, this is the hill I will die
in
on.
extraordinary. So they have a sample size of 60,000. You have a personal sample size of 100, right? That's like the issue you're running into now.
Yeah,
And the
yeah,
methodology, because you also
I
have a
understand.
selection
Yeah,
bias
yeah.
of your sample population as well.
I understand the counter argument. Believe me, I'm
Or
empathetic to the
teaching
counter argument.
bias. What if you're worse at teaching fat guys because you believe in them less?
But I'm not talking about after they start working with me. I'm talking about before they start. So whenever a client starts working with me, I ask them about their sexual experience, sexual history, i.e., their body count. So we're going off before I even ever started working with them.
That's fair.
But yeah, this is like the hill I will die on. Like honestly, like I understand how it sounds. I understand like, hey, listen, this according to the that burden of evidence or whatever the fuck it's called, the evidence hierarchy. Obviously, a study of 60,000 people is more than you're self-reported. But I will die on this hill, man. I think that science is wrong. I'm going to dig into that study
Okay.
at some point, and I'll do
Try
maybe
to
a
find
detailed
it.
analysis,
I'm
and
not
I will
stop
look
looking
for.
up with this quick Google search, and I didn't save it in my Patreon. I thought I had. I know I sent it to somebody. Did I send it to Erwin? No, I didn't. I think Destiny sent it to
Man, I will die on this hill, man. But anyway, so the
I'd be
point.
curious. Okay, I found a recently very counterintuitive study. So it's a study looking at sexual assault rates. Who do you think between men and women are going to have higher sexual assault rates?
Are we counting men in prison?
No, we're including men in prison.
Oh, then probably men.
Okay, I'm surprised that you say that. Most people
Well,
would
yeah.
always assume that it's women.
Well, no, because yeah, if you exclude the prison, then it's obviously going to be a woman. But including prison, yeah, because prison is like literally a giant grape fest.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
Do you think that most men are anally raped then, or are forced to penetrate?
never thought about that. I'm going to assume anally rape, but I don't know.
Yeah, so if we actually like basically equate, so if you include prison and you only look at anal rapes, women are still raped more than men, pretty consistently. However, if you actually document being forced to penetrate as a form of rape, which I would argue should be documented as a form of rape, the rates between sexual victimization between men and women don't really differ.
That's interesting because I don't even know, like, really disturbing image how that would even play out. It's like, yo, you're gonna fuck me now. I don't want to. I'm gonna bend over and you're gonna have your way with me. Like, I feel like
It's
that's from an
because
optics.
everyone thinks about sexual assault like it's some Hollywood movie, but the reality is like most sexual assault tends to occur with like some sort of like psychological coercion stuff, pressuring people, waking up in the middle of it, stuff like that. Because like I'm sure you know, dicks can get hard in the middle of sleep, but also guys can be coerced and pressured to have sex with women when they don't really want to, but they are like basically shamed about being like bad men if they don't have sex with it. But that would be considered non-consensual sex.
Yeah. Is there any other studies based on like body count and height or weight? It's just the only one.
Probably. I keep getting distracted. I'll keep trying to find this one. I know I sent it to somebody like 2 days ago, and I cannot for the life of me find it now.
What would you say if I did a little bit mini study myself? So I interviewed, I don't know, my audience is pretty big. I can get like at least 1,000 people, if
You
not
can't use your audience. No, you can't do this
because it's a sample bias.
because of sample bias. Tell you what, this is my goal. Okay, when I come to Florida, I am going to clean up all of your guys' like methodology so you guys can actually collect like valid data to do like some interpretation off of. Because you can do field work. It's not that hard to get trained in like good scientific field work, which is essentially what you're trying to do. You just like have to account for certain things that like Fresh and Fit and like you're definitely better than Fresh and Fit. Sometimes don't account for, but it'd be so interesting to pull like data from like the girls that come on Fresh and Fit, for example. We would just need to make sure that the data is like accounting for.
So how would be like a legit way of doing this? You would just have to approach random people, right? So there's no sample bias, basically.
So yeah, so if you pull just from your community, all it's really going to tell you is the average self-reported body count of Alex's playing with fire community. It doesn't really generalize super well, particularly if you look at the demographics. If you look at the demographics that you collect, and it's super different than like the average demographics of like men today and day, that would be a really big issue, right? So like if everyone who watches you has like a significantly lower body count than pretty much everyone else, now we know, okay, well, these are your studies, but it probably only would generalize to other communities that have like already difficulties with like having sex.
Yeah, I can see the sample bias argument. Yeah, I guess like I'll have to. We don't have to do this now, but at some point send me that study, and I'm gonna dig deep into it. I'll spend like at least a half an hour like researching that, and I'll come up with a much more solid analysis why I think the study's flawed. But I have to first look at the study and like see everything before I can evaluate. I'm also curious if there's any other studies like that. I just did a quick Google search and I couldn't find anything, but
Okay, I just found it. It was somebody. It was Vash that I sent it to.
Okay,
I think actually Vash found it and sent it to me.
All right, cool.
Destiny found it as well. I just can't find it in our DMs.
I'll dig into that and I'll take a look. Although I will die on this hill. I mean, I guess if there's like 3 or 4 more studies that come out, maybe I'll walk back my position. But
sure, I will look and see if there's follow-up studies for it too. Okay.
It seems so intuitively like just off based on every single ounce of anecdotal experience I have.
That's fair.
Although
sometimes studies can be wrong, right? Studies can be wrong. So it's possible.
Although, if that study is true, it completely destroys the black pill.
I know.
So, part of me actually wants it to be right.
Yeah, just to get him.
Because that, like, basically, so my whole position has been like, I think looks are like 50%, games 50%. If that study is true, looks are like irrelevant. They're like 10, 20%. So that would be a massive, like blow to the whole black pill. I mean,
do I post in like the side chat? Where do you want the link?
Do it in the private chat or just text me. Okay. So anyway, so let me keep going through the other things. So no quality woman out there. Obviously, the question I would ask him is your wife not a quality woman? Bam. Elon Musk is not a high value man. Irregardless whether you like Elon Musk or you don't like him, I have mixed thoughts about the dude. How are you going to say that he's not a high value man? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I don't know what to say because you and I are going to end up circle jerking about a lot of this stuff. Like, yes, agreed. But I would love to see Rillo's career over. That would be great. I think that would be good for the world. I think he does like immeasurable harm to young men by lying to them all the time about women.
What do you think are some of his biggest lies?
There's not a single good woman out there. It's like a pretty big one. It's a little doomer pilling for men. I think if you've got a whole bunch of young men that have understandable negative sentiment towards women, I think being told, and don't worry, there's no good woman out there is like probably the worst thing that you could tell these people, especially because it's not true. I hate even the way that he characterizes men. I hate in a lot of ways the way that like this like unique subsection of the red pill characterizes men, which is like
victims.
It's victims and stupid monkeys that cannot separate themselves from their dick. And it's just like, and also have no sense of morality. It's just like, well, cheating's less for men because they care about it less. And it's like, all you're making an argument for is why basically men have less moral standards than women do. And I don't know if I believe that. Like, I don't think men are so shitty.
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole, it's less bad when a man does it is like pure nonsense. Like cheating is cheating. It's violating in terms of your relationship. It doesn't really matter what the gender is. Even like, I mean, is it less bad that I steal from you because I'm jealous of your shit rather than the fact that like I want to hurt you? Like I'm still stole from you. I still like committed a crime. Like I don't understand how it's like better, how you can make that argument. So yeah, Elon Musk is not high. I mean, according to his own definition, which he gave later on Twitter, which is that a high value man is someone that women want to fuck and other men emulate. There's a whole bunch of dudes who want to be like Elon Musk, and I don't think Elon Musk is having a hard time getting laid. I think Elon Musk can get all the girls he wants. So according to his own definition, Elon Musk would be a high value man. Okay, this is a ridiculous one. He thinks Jeff Bezos. Yeah, that's another one. He thinks Andrew Tate, Joe Rogan, Tim Pool, Andrew Schultz all got their shit from him. Yeah, that's a great one. Iron rule number 2, never under the pain of death reveal your body count. I think that's cringe. Iron rule number 4, never live with a woman you're not married to or are not planning on marrying in the next 6 months. I think it's actually flipped. What do you think about that? Don't you think it makes more sense to live with a woman for a period of time before you consider marrying her rather than the opposite?
I mean, there is like some correlational evidence that living together before marriage is probably not as good, but I mean, it's complex. It seems to be the case that people who live together beforehand tend to like fall into marriage, whereas people who don't live together until they get married tend to be much more intentional in their dating. They're dating to marry. So I think there's a greater intentionality that occurs with the second type of relationship, which is probably actually why we're seeing like better effects. So I don't really care as much about living together. I care about like intentional vetting and like looking at your partner and going, is this somebody that I would like to spend time with?
Although I would make the argument that you don't fully know someone until you live with them, right? You discover a whole bunch of things about that person when you start living with them. So I would think, for me personally, I would need to live with a girl for a long period of time before I would consider marrying her. Because it's
Yeah.
really like I've had situations where I kind of quasi moved in with a girl for like a month, and
Yeah.
like it wasn't bad, but that's because the girl was awesome. But I realized a whole bunch of things about her that would be deal breakers for marriage, and I would
Yep.
not have known those things just from dating her.
Yeah, exactly. That's why like I don't have a super strong stance. I understand why people opt not to. And there's a lot of relationships that you don't live together and then you get married and you figure it out. I think a lot of things that people think are deal breakers aren't necessarily deal breakers when it comes to living to each other, but that's hard to say because people are way less willing to negotiate and like compromise, I think, in relationships now than they used to be. So
Yeah,
maybe your advice is more sound just because compromise is going to be less attainable.
yeah. By the way, there's actually a guy in the chat who wants to defend all these Rolo points. Do you mind if I bring him on?
Pays, yes.
All right, let me just go through the last three really quickly, then we'll bring them on. Men age like fine wine. So basically, men get better as they get older. That's only a small percentage of men, less than like probably 10% of men get
Probably some more
improved.
plaque in their brains.
Most men go down after high school and college, right? So it's only a small percentage of people that go up.
Most
Um,
people go down over
most
time.
people, yeah, exactly.
They get
Yeah.
plaque in their brain. They stop trying. Nobody's intentional. Everyone gets tired, burnt out.
Only women are allowed to have standards. So the argument he's making is that if men have standards, they get shamed. Women don't. But it's only when men have superficial standards they get shamed. If a woman is public about having superficial standards, she will get shamed. Like if she's like, I want a man who makes six figures, she will get shamed. Like
Not
generally speaking,
really. I don't think so. I actually think men get shamed for their standards a lot more than women do. I
they
think
get
there's
shamed more, but women still get shamed for
I don't
superficial.
know. Like at least in my maybe I'm just in like a uniquely toxic feminine circle, but I don't think I am. I feel like when I grew up, I was always like not loved in girl club because we would do the games of like what do you want your partner to look like and what are the standards and girls would have like these insane standards. And I would be like, that's pretty stupid. Like, that's probably not a helpful thing. And there's like this weird thing of like, um, girl, like, you have to yes man us. I don't know. I feel like girls saying things like 6 foot minimum is mostly socially normal. It's starting to shift. And I think that it's good that it's starting to shift. But I think a lot of girls, if you go like 6 foot minimum, most girls would be like, yeah, yeah, I feel that. Like, I feel that. And it's just like, that's it. You can, but what a fucking stupid standard to have. Like, who cares? It's just most guys are lying about being 6 foot anyways. They're all like 5'10", most of them.
Yeah, 6 feet is 5'10". I mean, I do agree that men get shamed more. I just don't think it's the only ones. Like, I mean, like if a guy, if I mean, I'll always say I like girls with big tits and big asses. I don't think I've ever been shamed for that.
Yeah,
Uh,
there's some things men don't get shamed about, which is going to be like big tits, big ass thing. It seems like that one is pretty socially normal. Although I come from like pretty leftist academic spheres, and I will be clear, I don't know if I've ever in my sphere, even like not just in psych, but like in humanities and like talking to poli science, I don't know if I've ever heard guys say things like, "Oh, I just want a big tits and big ass." Like that would be pretty socially uncouth, but that might just because of be like the academic bubble of like we're sapiosexuals who only care about the mind. We're not humans, which like is academic copium, but maybe.
okay, fair enough. I guess we have maybe a little bit of disagreement on this one. The last one is men have no attraction for it. So there's not much truth to it. Some men have no attraction for it, but I think like at least most of my friends they have an attraction for it. Like I just don't think every like or at least the majority of guys are just having sex with anyone, right? I think like a good amount of men will not have sex with like very unattractive girls, but
Yeah,
maybe
men
I'm just
vet.
projecting. I could be projecting on that one.
I think there's this cringe idea in the red pill that just men never get to vet and only women vet, and it's like you guys vet by just not approaching. All the women that you just would never approach, you vetted out, right? Which means every old woman, by the way, you're mostly vetting out. You probably wouldn't like fuck your 60-year-old grandma's friends for the most part. That's fine. Like men just vet differently. Women vet by men approaching them and then rejecting them for the most part. Men vet by never opting to approach these individuals. So all the individuals that you're not approaching are in many parts the women that you're vetting out. And men who widen their net are like, well, I guess I'll approach this girl. I normally wouldn't, but like, I guess I'll try it.
Mm-hmm.
That was
Okay.
my view. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we went through most of the points. Let me bring on this person. His name is Oh Baby. Oh Baby, what's up?
You can call me AB. What's going on?
AB, hi.
AB. Okay, cool. So yeah, man. So
What's your PFP? That's a good
what did
one.
you want to discuss?
So yeah, that last point, for example, right? About men. You said, what did he say? Men.
Men men have no attraction for.
So with your recent like video that you did with the old lady or the fat lady or even your mom making her older and stuff like that, right? And her getting all those matches. Doesn't that kind of speak to that point of all those guys matching with her and willing to go, you know, move
Yeah.
on? Yeah.
So that's what I was saying. I think some men definitely don't have an attraction
But you
for.
said there was Chads matching with her. It wasn't just some dudes. It was everybody across
Well,
the
yeah,
board matching with.
but you can be a Chad and not have an attraction for, right? You have low self esteem and whatnot. Like I know a dude, I know a Chad. He doesn't have low self esteem now, but he used to, right? So you can be good looking, have low self esteem. It's just less common. But there's also like, okay, like let me ask you, out of you and your friends, are any of you guys willing to have sex with really, really gross girls? Like, would you have sex with a girl who's extremely overweight?
It depends on the guy. It depends on how
Well, what about
thirsty
for
that guy
you?
is. No, I mean, no, of course not. But
So you have an attraction for it.
okay, so it's, when you don't go binary, you always like to go this binary route, and you're always like it's either no. What is that? His actual statement, like no guy has.
He said men.
You're too early in the conversation to do the meta conversation. Just wait. If he keeps doing the black and white, I'll jump on ship with you, okay?
He said that the statement was men don't have an attraction for it. Now, it depends on how generous you want to be, how charitable you want to be when you interpret that. If you want to be very charitable, you can say that he's saying that most men don't have an attraction for it. If you're being not charitable, you're just
Yeah,
taking the word, and you would say he's saying that men in general, as a species, aside from a few exceptions, don't have an attraction for it. That's kind of how I interpreted, because if he meant the first one, then he would have said most men don't have an attraction for it. But he's saying men, which implies that that's kind of the rule. And
but
what
when
I'm
you if you go read the book, he goes further into that. Into you can't just take like one sentence and just try to debate
But
one.
this is not from the book. This is stuff that he says like in his on his channel. He
But
literally
it's in a book also though.
okay, but I'm just going off what he says like publicly, which is most men don't have an attraction, or he says men don't have an attraction for it. Like that's what he says. He might have clarified in his book, but most people aren't reading his book. They're watching like a clip of him, and that's why I'm going off. So I mean, I could okay. What if I say that like Tinder gives you cancer, right? That's my statement. And then I have this book that in that book I specify that actually I think there might be a little bit of a correlation between using your phone and the electromagnetic waves could potentially be causing you interference. And here's a little study on this, but obviously it's inconclusive and you should be able, like, you know, I could clarify it in my book, but the initial statement is Tinder gives you cancer is pretty absurd. So it's the same thing here. You might have clarified it later, right? But I'm just going off the initial statement. Like when I make statements, I generally clarify it in the moment. So if I say something, I'm not going to leave any ambiguity. You don't have to watch like you don't have to read my book to understand what I'm saying. Like if I say like I don't think most men or a good amount of men have an attraction for, right? I'm just that's basically is what it is. What the fuck is Kyla doing? She's doing some working out.
But
I'm
yeah,
just
yeah.
exercising while you guys chat. It's okay.
But it's sort of like he's trying to at least like just like your Tinder experiment shows. Like depends on the time of day. Depends on how much that guy gets. Gets women and stuff like that. He can go down and down and down on that. Uh, you know what I mean? Like attraction level. Like depends. Like if it's 2 a.m. and he's drunk, like you might go down a notch or two than what you normally go for. So he sort of want to like talk about that idea. It's like a
But
pair of goggles.
even if it goes down a notch or two, you still have an attraction for, right? So if you go like usually you go for sixes and above, and you're drunk, you go for a four. That's still a four, right? So no floor means that like you will fuck anything. You will fuck the homeless lady down the street. So like, so are you gonna say that like your position is that the majority of men don't have an attraction for it? Like the majority of men will fuck like anything and everything. They'll fuck a homeless lady.
Not everything in it. Don't take it to the extreme. Why
But
you always like to
a
take it to the
statement.
extreme?
But that's a statement. Men don't have an attraction for it.
I don't think that's what he meant by that. I mean,
But he didn't say men have a low attraction for it. He said men don't have an attraction for it.
but like when you say some things right to grab attention to like introduce an idea and then you go further
He was
into it.
lying. So then he lied.
Okay, you can say that, but I mean, it kind of when you really look at what actually happens, just like your Tinder experiment, you can see guys that could get like way hotter girls than what you put up are
Yeah,
willing
there's
to entertain these kind of girls. Like, and it was hundreds of them. So it was like it kind of
Yeah,
builds into his theory a little bit.
it doesn't though, because my theory is that some men don't have an attraction for, and some men do. I don't think the majority of men have no attraction for. I think the majority of men have somewhat of an attraction for, right? So just because there's 500 or 1,000 or 5,000 guys on Tinder that were willing to bang an old lady, that doesn't dismiss my narrative, because I acknowledge there is a good amount of men who don't have an attraction for it. But I think the majority of men have some level of attraction for it. And that, again, his statement wasn't that like most men don't have an attraction for, or most men have a low attraction for. He says men don't have an attraction for. I'm just taking what he says at face value. That's really what I'm doing.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could, get to the book so I can go look into that one. So I guess we can move on to other points. What was the other one that?
Well, Kyla, do you have anything to add about this? Let's let Kyla talk.
Yeah, I just think the idea that like men don't do any like vetting or anything like that is pretty silly. I think they self-evidently do. I think like Rollo's worldview is just like desperate to paint it so that like women have it easy and have no problems, and men have like all the problems. And I think like this type of talking point is just to like try to reinforce that like look at like women have all these options, and like most men, they can't even get in the door anywhere. There's just nothing for
But
them.
that's kind of true a little bit. That is kind of true a little bit. Like, yeah,
Well, a lot of guys are having a hard time getting in the door, right? So it's like
Yeah.
something like 27% of men are incels, right? But still,
Right.
the majority of men are not incels. The majority of men are in some type of a relationship, or they've been in some type of relationship, right? So we are talking about, unfortunately, a large subset, but still like it's still 1/4 of the male population. Like,
Yeah, so let's just add the incel plus the guys that are in a relationship.
well, first of all, a lot of
Or-
these incels have actually massive attraction for us. I had a client who's like a virgin with autism, and he was saying, "Bro, I don't want any 7s. I want 8s and 9s." And I was like, "Oh my god, what the fuck?" So a lot of these incels actually have a massive attraction for it.
Yeah, and I was talking to Kale's point about like how
Oh, okay.
you're saying, Rolo's trying to push this, like, guys that don't have any options, and when you add up the incel plus all the guys that are with girls just because that's the one girl that gave them a shot, when you add all that up, it kind of probably gets to that 50% plus men that are in relationships or are incels. They're just not having a good experience in the dating market.
Let's just be sorry. Go ahead.
I would fully grant that men have it pretty awful in the dating market. I would never pretend that that's not the case, right? I would say men have more obstacles by and large. Men are the least socialized to be able to deal with the new demands of the modern man's dating market. And rather than caring about like why we see these like basically like disparities and dysfunction amongst young men, we would prefer to turn them into villains and make them social outcasts, which just makes the problem worse, right? I'd be willing to look at all of these things. The problem is that this neglects all of the obstacles that women have to deal with in dating, which is women have tons of problems. And it very much like creates this like massive level of like victim ideology that it feels like Rollo is like desperate to establish that isn't real, right? We can look at things and go, there's tons of obstacles for men, maybe even more obstacles for men in the dating life. It doesn't change the fact that women have obstacles too. Things are rough out there for everyone. And B, lots of people are in relationships that they're incredibly dissatisfied by. There's tons of girls, for example, that hop from relationship to relationship, and it's an awful experience consistently and always. And she's sacrificing her career and her time all the time for these other men, and it's awful always, right? And so I think the problem is that like Rollo's paradigm causes us to lose empathy for any side, and we just get so narrowed in on our own problems, which is cringe.
Well, yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, baby, do you think that men should have standards?
Yeah, definitely, man. Men definitely should have standards. Absolutely.
Okay, I agree with you. So the larger issue I have with this statement, aside from the fact that it's just like
It's
technically
like should versus like
right, but the
what
issue
can
is
they
that,
get out there in the marketplace? You know what I
right,
mean?
but
It's
the
like,
issue is that if someone's like a diehard fan of Rollo and they have some level of standards and they see that quote and they're like, oh, well, he says that men don't have an attraction for it. So maybe I'm the weird one. So maybe I should lower my standards because all other men don't have an attraction for it, which obviously
I don't think people watch that statement and then go ahead and that's the prescription. I don't think that's what they take away from that statement. That's more of a thought, like a thought process he's trying to put out there. It's not like a prescription like, oh, you shouldn't have any standards, just get with anybody. That's not where that statement leads to.
Right, but you don't necessarily need to give a prescription to cause influence and action. Like if I say that Tinder makes your penis 30% smaller, I'm not actually giving you a prescription, but you bet that's going to push people away from using Tinder. You know, if
I
I
mean, but
say
you can discuss about ideas, and then somebody has to be responsible enough to look at it as just ideas being discussed, and not look at it as prescription.
Yeah, but now you're
I'm
now
gonna use the
like
restroom.
removing streamers and whatnot's accountability for like the energy and stuff that they give off. Like, I don't think anyone would look at Rolo in his career and think that he's like some guy who's deeply empathetic to like both the masculine and feminine plight, and that he thinks that like things are decently balanced. He just like wants to focus on like uniquely male related obstacles, right? Like that isn't the takeaway anyone has towards his aesthetic. And
I
also,
agree. I agree that he's covering the dating market from the male POV.
yeah, the issue is he's not just doing that, right? If he was just doing that, there would be a different conversation. Because I think Alex covers the dating market mostly from the male POV. I think that's fine. There's no problem with that. And to be clear, I would also agree with you. There's a ton of people who have a problem with that, who have a problem with even just
Mm-hmm.
people focusing on male issues. And
Right.
that's not my problem, right? That I wouldn't be here otherwise. The issue is Rolo's not just doing that. That's not his aesthetic. He's not giving off this energy as a guy who's just, uniquely concerned about males' needs. That's not all that's
So
going on.
you think it goes beyond that, and it goes into like woman hating and kind of complaining about feminism, and that's where the problem comes in. Is that where the
I
issue
mean,
is?
he calls it the gynocentric female order, which
Right.
implies women are in power and there's a conspiracy of women to keep us men down.
I don't know about the conspiracy part, but do you disagree that the kind of politics and the world in general kind of caters to the woman's needs,
No, I don't. I think that most
policy and otherwise?
some policies, perhaps, sure,
I think
there's
it's
issues, but generally
complex.
speaking, yeah, generally speaking, in like any field, politics, CEOs, they're all predominantly dominated by men.
I'm not
So
talking about the particular. I'm not talking about the people that hold that position, but I'm talking about the messaging that comes from either Wall Street,
The culture.
Hollywood, the culture in
yeah, messaging
general.
from Hollywood, sure, but I don't think there's policy. I don't think women are like
I'm not
dom.
saying policy. I'm talking, well, even policy is
Aesthetic. You're
like
talking about the
women
culture.
empowerment.
Yes,
Even
I would
in the
say,
corporate world and that kind of thing. It's like
yeah. But
whatever works for the
media.
woman is good for society. Is sort of like
The issue is that's kind of true. First of all, what is good for women tends to be good for societies. Like one of the best ways to lift any country out of despair is to empower women.
so that is a feminist talking point, isn't it?
It is also just fact.
Okay, I mean, I'm
Just
not saying
you
it's
could
good or
just
bad.
look at Middle
I
Eastern
just want to
countries.
highlight that.
Yeah.
I just want to highlight that. But
Yeah, you could just
I'm not saying
look
good or
at Middle
bad. But
Eastern
yeah.
countries. One of the best things that you can do to try to like improve the likelihood of democracy happening and like more equal rights and human rights getting established is educating women, right? So like there is a gynocentrism to kind of the culture war as well. I would agree with that. There's more latitude right now for women to get away with things. Like even women
Hmm.
can say things like kill all men, and it's like mostly like tee hee, like tee hee.
Right.
So there is that's occurring. The issue is that culturally we still have an obsession with like masculinity. So while I think men are increasingly being like structurally left behind, there isn't these like welfare and support systems. There isn't these interventions for men like there is for women, right? There's less education that's like male centric to like uphold and
Hmm.
empower young men, while there is for women. And by the way, the fact that it exists for women is just good. It's not a bad thing. It's a really good thing. I want to continue to maximize empowering women. The problem is that we're not
I
doing
actually
it for
agree. I
men.
don't think that's a bad thing because
Right.
that's equal human rights, whatever. I don't disagree with that. Yeah.
The issue is that in our society, when we look at like masculine and feminine traits, we always respect masculine traits, whereas feminine traits are nice. Our society still selects for masculinity in a lot of ways, which is kind of like the cultural patriarchy, if you like want to use
Can you
cringe
give example of that?
quotes. Yeah. So for example, when you want to get like more aggressively recognized and valued in business settings as a woman, you typically have to adopt very masculine traits. You need to become highly disagreeable, very thing driven, very oriented on like maximizing like growth and budgets, and a little bit less like compassion, nurturing, all the like classically
Hmm.
feminine traits, right?
Hmm.
We're going to respect these things. We respect the person who like rises to the top and is like kind of like alpha dog and like runs the role
Mm-hmm.
and like occupies these masculine kind of centric things. And I think that's fine because I think women occupying masculine roles is fine. The issue is when we look at, say, traditionally feminine things like healthy femme, like things like nurturance, like social cohesion, or establishing like a social group, we think of that as like a nice thing. And it's not nice, right? Figuring out how to make 150 people work together and maximizing everyone's strengths and trying to minimize weaknesses isn't nice. It's incredible. And yet we don't really see it as a feminine thing.
But don't you think that
Even though
that side is getting more embraced by corporate America?
it is slowly. The issue is that it's getting embraced in a way that isn't like acknowledging of the fact that it's like a feminine thing, right? So like when men more and more occupy like yuppies, nobody looks at like, do you know what yuppies are?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody looks at like these like yuppie types and thinks that's a guy with lots of healthy femme, even though they literally are. Like
Mm-hmm.
they've got some masculinity with like the obsession on things and that sort of thing and like empire growing. But most yuppies are really good social managers. They're good at maximizing people's strengths and weaknesses. So they're good at organizing people, which
Mm-hmm.
is a distinctly feminine trait. But we don't think about it in that way. We think he's a really good guy. And so like everything that's good and respectable keeps getting lumped into what we view as like masculine. And I think it's really limiting for young men.
I
In that
don't
like,
know. I think the workplace these days, the managers that are leaning into the more what you call the feminine traits do get rewarded.
they do
Uh,
get rewarded, but it doesn't get attributed to distinctly a feminine thing.
okay, well, how's that a? I mean, why is that an issue? I guess, and how can corporate America address that? I mean, most HR departments are women. You know,
That just happens to be because women generally gravitate towards more social things. Most accounting departments are men. That's not on purpose. That just tends to be that women gravitate more towards HR and then gravitate more towards like finance and accounting. That's not on purpose.
Right. So one way that I would look at this is there's a lot of space. Would you agree there's a lot of space for women to occupy traditionally masculine traits? That can be kind of a disagreeable now, tomboys, right? The assertive boss bitch. All these energies are kind of women occupying more traditionally masculine
uh-huh.
archetypes. Would you agree with that?
When you say space, what do you mean though?
Yeah.
So if I see a woman in a power suit ordering people around, it's not really viewed as like this like cringy thing. Some people might be like, "Ugh, that bitch," but most of the time, even the men that think she's a bitch also kind of want to fuck her. Like it's hot. There's a value to it. We can appreciate women in that space. It's not like a
Mm-hmm.
negative for the
Mm-hmm.
most part.
Mm-hmm.
I have mixed feelings about that, but keep going.
I think that's good. I think, for example, I'm a really good example. Some people have issues with me when I'm being in my masculine. Most people think it's based, even though I'm quite masculine in like the way that I engage in like debate and argumentation. Right? Most people just think it's based, which is great for me. Most people still think it's cringe when men occupy hyper feminine spaces. Overall, there isn't as much like space for men. So
Like what? What can you give an
so
example? Like,
let's say there's a guy. He all he cares about is nurturance. He wants to be a stay-at-home father, and his number one dream is to raise really good kids and to like basically like home make and do like a little bit of community work. That's all he wants to do is just like raise his kids and help out in the community. Not a lot of people. There's a couple women that go, "Aw," and that's about it, right?
yeah, I mean, it's true. Yes, you're right. I think.
Wait,
Um,
I don't know if that's necessarily true. It depends on what. In the dating marketplace, that guy will get destroyed.
that's what
But
I was gonna say. Yeah.
outside of the dating marketplace, like he will get social support on TikTok and whatnot. I mean, like look at all the
Facts.
not to bring it to this, but look at all the trans, stuff. Like they get massive support. I mean, when Bruce Jenner became whatever, I think Katie or I forget
Yep.
it, Jenner, whatever. I mean, there was massive support. I mean, people were willing even to ignore the fact that this dude or this chick drunk drove and killed somebody, right? So, like, I think there's massive social support for men being feminine nowadays.
I agree.
Just not in the
Some
dating
spaces.
marketplace.
Can I add one more to that? Is the guy that sang "Old Town Road" when he came out gay? What's that artist name? When he that
Oh
song.
yeah,
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when
that's
he
just like
came out
Nas,
gay, like
Nas,
his career
Smell
just
L's.
like exploded way more than that song.
Yes, because like
And
California and like a liberal value exists, but especially in like more normie working class spaces, and this is where we have to start like doing the separation of like cultural zeitgeists. For example, Destiny is probably one of the strongest debaters in on the internet. And when he comes out as bi, he has to earn his place. People are reticent to take him seriously. And because he doesn't occupy a whole bunch of very traditionally masculine things, like his aesthetic, for example, he's got blue hair. He tends to like sit there like a little like toad and like stare off into the distance. And he's very like not big and occupying space. He has to work to earn the respect. Whereas
But he
other
has one
guys
of the,
will roll up.
I don't know if
he
that's
has one of the
true,
biggest communities on
Totally
all of
true.
the internet. He has
Look
one
at
of the
the
biggest
way he
communities
gathers-
on all of the internet, though.
That only
course.
happens in the red pill space, not any other community.
I'm gonna be honest. Maybe this is it. If most
He was
people
on
might
he
not
was
be
on
very
mainstream.
happy.
He's liked on mainstream. He gets on mainstream
Yeah, like
podcasts.
no jumper is not giving him shit for being bi.
Yeah.
You're right.
Or
He is, but that is not because he definitely starts at a disadvantage and earns his way up. The problem is Destiny is so fucking dominant that this shit that you can't dismiss him for too long.
I
But
disagree.
he definitely starts at a disadvantage. There's no shot that you think that Destiny walking into most normie spaces, being a bi guy who's got blue hair and is very not hyper masculine, but is also kind of edgy, because the left space, by the way, doesn't like him either, mostly because he occupies too much toxic masculinity, just being like hyper aggressive and mean all the time. He absolutely has to earn it.
What would you call like a normie space?
No,
like
I
I think
disagree with that.
the Lex podcast is a very middle of the road podcast.
yeah,
It's a
I
huge
disagree with that.
podcast.
I think it's only disadvantage in red pill spaces. Even like with me, I was like, you know how much I talk about him being bi? Zero, because I don't give a shit. Like with me, it doesn't give any kind of advantage or disadvantage, right? And I'll consider I'm like somewhat part of the manosphere. So with people like me, if it's not a disadvantage, it's not gonna be a disadvantage with the normies. It's only a disadvantage with like the hardcore red pillers. Fresh and fit, yeah, for sure. I'm sure in that situation, it's exactly like you're saying. But the red pill community is only a small part of the whole media community.
Probably all conservatives will also, he'll start at a slight disadvantage with them. Would you agree to that? He's queer with blue hair.
No, I think the fact that he got banned on Twitch probably give him some cred, and I think that they will probably look at him as he's more of a reasonable guy that's willing to come on.
Who's that like fucking congressperson that got arrested recently for fraud? The one that lies a lot. You know who I'm talking about?
Lies a lot and fraud is not going to narrow
it. Well, he's like notorious for lying. He's like the dude that based out of Long Island, New York. He stole.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I keep on wanting to say DeSantis. It's not DeSantis.
Is it Cuomo? Is it Cuomo? It's not Cuomo.
Oh no, it's not Cuomo. Okay, well, you guys know who I'm talking about. Anyway, that dude, he literally won on the Republican ticket as a gay guy. Like he said that he's probably gay or whatever, right? So, like
that guy. Wait,
yeah.
George, you're not talking about George Santos, are you? I don't think George Santos has come out as
yeah, George Santos. Yeah. He said he's a proud gay man apparently.
right.
So he was able to win in a Republican basically primary and as a Republican candidate for Congress. So I think that's most normals don't make it as big of a deal if he was able to do that. Because if it was a big deal, he would never have been able to win, especially not in the Republican primary.
Sure.
Or like Milo Yiannopoulos, he's like one of the most popular, or was.
He's
not
not
anymore.
one of the most popular.
He used to be.
He was.
Deeply by
2016, though, he was really popular. 2015, 2016.
He was popular, but he was popular in a tokenized way, not in like being gay didn't give them a neutrality. It gave them a disadvantage. It's just it was unique in that they were tokenized. Like when you're in these spaces, being tokenized is like a different way of like weapon. But like I'm sorry, if you don't think that Destiny is going to be assumed as like not being a very masculine guy in most spaces, I don't know.
I don't think. I mean, of course, they're not gonna consider him masculine, but I don't think they're gonna. The fact that he has blue hair and he's bi is not gonna. They're not gonna look down on him. I don't think that
the blue hair, yes. The bi, no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I do think a lot of people will look at him funny because he has blue hair, because but he kind of plays into the whole like SJW thing. But in terms of the bi, I guess we have to agree to disagree on that. But I think outside of the red pill space, maybe the hardcore conservative space, I don't think most people care, honestly. Like I just think most people don't give a shit.
You think Tucker Carlson will have him on his new show on Twitter?
I don't know. Maybe.
Well, maybe like would he have him on?
Probably, yeah. But again, what you're attributing to Destiny's success doesn't mean that he doesn't experience obstacles because he doesn't fit into the masculine aesthetic. It means that he has a capacity to overcome these things, right? Like you guys being like, but he's successful, but he does earn people's respect. It's like, yes, but that doesn't mean that there isn't some like aesthetic disadvantage that he doesn't have to overcome. It doesn't change the fact, for example, that he will forever and always be made fun of as being a cuck in a ton of different spaces, not just the red pill, in a ton of different, particularly socially conservative spaces. He's just always going to be made fun of for being a cuck because of his open relationship. There's that photo of like ABBA dancing with Melina still circulating to this day. Like, yeah,
I get
there
what you're
is these
saying.
disadvantages.
I think I can
I
understand
think,
a
I think
little
we
bit.
have to differentiate bi from being a cuck. He is in a fairly unusual relationship that I think most men are not. I mean, I guess being bi is also semi uncommon, but I think those two get treated a little bit differently by most people. I think
Yeah,
most
I agree. I
most
am.
normies look at a guy who's bi and they're like, "Who gives a shit?" Versus they look at that relationship, they're like, "Ooh, yeah, that's kind of weird. I don't know
I
about."
think she might be saying like if he was like 6 foot tall and jacked, that he would get more respect with the same talking points and everything without the blue hair and stuff like that. Is that what you mean
Yeah,
by the
if
mask?
he
Yeah.
had the
Okay.
aesthetic, like
Yeah.
more
Sure,
people,
and if
including normies, because there is all the point is there is less space for men to occupy feminized spaces and people to think it's socially normal. This is obviously true. That's why stay-at-home dads get on by women but cringed at by most other men. This is why male teachers get cringed at. This is why men who want to be caretakers of children in any way get cringed at because they are both everyone thinks it's kind of feminine and also they think that they're predators, right? Like they get like this double thing. I don't in fact, if you look at hiring practices nowadays, there's almost no difference in hiring practices as far as like whether it's a male or female, whether they'll be hired, except for in female dominated workplaces, men are very significantly selected less often than men,
it's a
even with an
trust.
equal resume.
Yeah, it's a trust thing because most of the female dominated spaces are nurturing types of spaces like childcare or teaching or like
Right.
nursing. And
You can't conceive of an archetype of a man
it's a
occupying
trust
a
thing.
feminine thing that isn't predatory. That's the
Well,
point.
to be honest, like I'm just gonna say like it is. If I had a little daughter, I would feel more comfortable with her having a female babysitter than a male babysitter.
Alex, that's the patriarchy. You know, you gotta get rid of
I
that
would,
patriarchy.
I would all day, every day, unless I really know that dude. If I'm choosing between a random female and a random male for to babysit my little girl, I will go with a random female all day, every day.
That's your conditioning.
I mean,
It's also
you
risk.
guys would say this. You might get like Marshall's getting a lot of love. That doesn't mean girls want to fuck him or want to be in relationship even with him.
But
There's
dating,
tons of girls, for example, that if you have too many feminine traits as a man, it's a turnoff. Whereas for a lot of girls, if you have a ton of hyper masculine traits, guys just think it's sexy in a different way. Like they're just, I don't know. There's just obviously less space for men to occupy feminine roles. Femininity
Tyler, but
is absolutely less respected. 100%.
you have to separate the dating world from the normie world or the rest of the world, right? In dating, you are absolutely correct. Yes, because the fact of the matter is women are generally not attracted to feminine men. That just kind of is what it is. But when you go outside of dating, right, just in terms of social support in the normie world, I don't think it really plays out nearly as much. But in terms of dating, yeah, you are right. Which is like why a big part of my message is like, hey, if you want to be successful in dating, you should probably be masculine.
But she is saying though that if he has feminine traits, he's gonna have less respect even in society, even at work, even in corporate world. That's what she's saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. But I want to go back to this because I feel like we got a little on a side tangent.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh baby, what does the gynocentric female order mean to you? Like, what do you think is the definition?
Well, I kind of already mentioned it earlier. It's just that what's good for the female is good for the world. That most kind of working society rules and whatnot generate and kind of start there in the current modern world. So
Okay,
that's
your definition is a bit different than mine. What I would think of it is that women are the ones who secretly hold the power, and that as a male, you're disadvantaged. That's the way I interpret it.
I probably would agree on the first part, like covertly. I think Roller would make that argument that I think like women spend 80% of the consumer market and that kind of thing. So that's where the power lies. So those are the kind of facts that he would throw in there to support that women covertly run the world, not in the front, like not CEO status, but like covertly in your average American household and whatnot. It's kind of like happy life. I mean, happy wife, happy life. That kind of thing rolls into that whole thing.
Who do you think on average holds more power, just overall power, women or men?
On like the average Joe versus the average woman.
Just overall in terms of power, in terms of like where power is, where decisions are being made. We're talking CEOs, we're talking politics, we're talking influencers, we're talking anyone who's in a position of power.
Yeah, if you're talking in terms of politics and the corporate world,
Any,
obviously it's a man. But I
obviously.
think in the average household, in the average American household, I think the woman would hold more power over the
Well,
husband.
but that's only because the guy has decided to give up his power, right? So we have no control over. We have very limited control over who's in power in Congress. We have very limited control who's the CEO of a company, right? But we have 100% control of who's in charge of the family life, right? So the only reason that what you're saying is happening, and I don't know if it is or not, but I can for sure it's possible, is because those men are being betas and they have conceded their power, right?
And that's what Rolo's like trying to get people to like wake up and realize and take back, like, you know what I mean, like some of that leadership
Okay,
thing in the house.
if that's what he's saying, then sure. The way I interpret that, and I think the way a lot of people interpret that, is that there's like almost like the women are generally hold the strings, and that as a man you're a disadvantage in today's world. It's basically taking what the women say about the patriarchy and flipping it on and say, hey, it's not the patriarchy, it's not the men who are keeping you down. It's the other way. It's the women who are keeping you men down, right? That's the way I interpret it. But I don't know, Kyle, how did you interpret it?
Sorry, I got distracted. Could you give me the specific quote again?
Okay, so the way we're talking about what gynocentric female order is and like how people interpret it. So the way I interpret it is basically the opposite of the patriarchy. It's like, hey, it's not the men who are in positions of power who are keeping the women down. It's the opposite of that. It's actually the women who are in positions of power who are keeping the men down. That's how I interpreted gynocentric.
But I made the difference, like power in the home versus power in corporate America and government are two separate things. I think that distinction needs to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I could be wrong. I have a pretty negative sentiment towards Rollo, so I'm probably biased in this. My interpretation of Rollo is that he definitely thinks that basically women are keeping men down. Women are probably like somewhat systematically doing it. He'd probably say a lot of it is like he'd probably like couch it in a bunch of like sciencey sounding language to make it sound like it's like neutral about like how it's just like women doing their biology shit. But the implication is necessarily that like women are basically fucking over men in as many areas as possible. He'd probably talk about things like hiring practices, like quotas and stuff like that. Yeah.
I just don't like anything that makes a man be the victim or anyone be the victim, women too, for that matter. I don't like anything that insinuates any kind of victim mindset because at the end of the day, if you're a man born in America in a first world country, you have it pretty good. Like like your life.
Don't you think like the tone set by society affects the average Joe and how he conducts himself in the dating market and otherwise?
It doesn't need to.
I mean, no, I agree with you, but do you think that the average person gets affected by the tone that gets set by society?
Well, the average person gets affected by all kinds of dumb shit. I mean,
and that's part of what Rollo's argument is. Like, one of it is the whole like how feminism came in and sort of established all this power, and that the man is not really cognizant of it and he's not aware of it, and he kind of gets rolled up in the bad marriage and blah blah blah, and it goes on into that. So I think his work is to highlight and to kind of warn guys like what has been happening since feminism has really taken over American society in the last few decades. I think that's kind of his work.
Let me address this comment. Go ahead.
It's just never know yourself as a victim. So bury your head in the sand and deny reality. Okay, go ahead.
No one is saying that, Brad. Okay. What I'm saying is that even if you are in a situation of victim, instead of identifying as a victim and seeing yourself like, oh, I'm a victim, blah, blah, it's much better to be empowering, right? To be like, okay, this is what happened to me. It sucks. What am I going to do about this? Like, for example with me is Lyme disease, right? Lyme disease fucking sucks. I was bedridden at some point, but I didn't sit there and say, fuck, why me? Why me? Why do I have to get Lyme disease? Why? Right? Why me? I was like, okay, this fucking sucks. I got dealt this really, really bad disease. What am I going to do about it? How am I going to solve that? Right.
No, I
And
agree. Yeah.
I think that's a big part of the reason why I'm like pretty healthy, relatively speaking. Most people have blonde is because I looked at it from a very like action taking, empowering perspective. But if you identify as a victim, right, then you're not really going to take action. So if
But
you're like,
but that's not. He's not trying to identify as a victim. He's explaining the market. He's explaining what is affecting the market and why things are the way they are. That's his.
Do
That's
you
the
think he's just
point.
being honest?
What do you mean?
Do you think that he's just like honestly trying to represent the market like as honestly as possible?
I think he covers too much on the feminist and how feminism kind of came into the market and affected it. He covers that area so much, so it looks like he's not covering the other side, which is, I think, a fair criticism.
Okay. Why, if he's trying to be like as honest, at least to the men's issue as much as possible, why isn't he updating with the science that he proclaims to love about how dual mating hypothesis is not true? It's not real.
So I mean, it's still a hypothesis, so they're still up for a debate, right? A hypothesis is up for
No.
debate, isn't it?
It's wholly disavowed from every single person who originated the hypothesis. They basically said this isn't the case. If dual mating hypothesis is being is real, nobody's using it. Essentially, to say nobody's using it. It's not real.
So when he
Alpha
talks
fucks
about the
beta bucks isn't real.
So
not
he's not. So he. How do you understand it when he says alpha fucks beta bucks? How do you understand it?
He's
What he
talking
means?
about the dual mating hypothesis. He's saying that women have a predilection based on really old 1980s research about ovulation, how women would select between two different t-shirts, and that when they're ovulating, they select the alpha male, as they characterized it, and when they are in the other periods of their follicular phase, they select the beta male who provides, and so they get with the beta male so that he can provide for her, and then goes behind his back and fucks an alpha so that the alpha's genes get propagated but supported by the beta.
Okay,
That's what
but do you think, how does that actually show up in the world? How do you think that shows up in the
literally
world?
doesn't. It doesn't. What you
So
would see, so one way that you could measure that would be bastardized children. So children whose father on their birth certificate is not actually their biological father. So essentially a literal cuck situation. And the rates of that are less than 1% universally. It's not happening.
okay, but what about um like, how do you explain the single mother and then getting a guy to provide for those kids later?
like what
stepfather?
specifically about it?
I mean, I'm sorry, like a single mom. I'm sorry, single mom, a single mom that goes out and has kids with, a couple of guys, and then later in life gets a husband to pay for those kids. That's not his. How do you?
So usually in those situations, she still has children with the guy who's the beta in this situation. And how I explain that is when people are young, they do lots of dumb things like have sex when they shouldn't have, and they don't use fucking birth control like they shouldn't have. And the problem is that our court system has decided that women should almost always have custody. And so when two dumb fucks choose to have sex and not use protection, it's usually the woman who's lumped with the responsibility, which is stupid. And as a result, she eventually figures her shit out by the time she's like 28, 30, realizes it's probably not worth chasing after impulsive men, and it's better to get with men who are healthier and more well-rounded, ends up finding that guy, and then he's the stepfather to her children, and usually they have their own biological children as well. The
That's
rate of men
true.
being stepfathers and only stepfathers is very low.
That's
Wait,
true.
are you
That's true.
saying
But
like
my point is, I would make the argument that she usually has the kids with the alpha at 21, 19,
What
and
is
then
alpha
marries.
about a loser fuck on drugs
Well,
doing crime,
like
not being
masculine. Let's just say
biblical?
masculine traits, more of like, you
Which
know,
masculine traits? Because isn't like
like the
survivorship and having
physical.
like
No, I
protective
was talking about more
elements
of like the
masculine?
physical, like what Rolo calls the, what is it, the hot guy in the foam party, whatever. That guy, the more like 6 foot tall, masculine, muscles, more dark triad, right? What do you call those?
Dark
Dark.
triad?
is there
Yes,
like
yeah, dark triad.
is there like any
There's no
evidence for
evidence
that?
for
And
any
also,
of this. What's
would,
mostly happening is that poor people tend to be undereducated, often more impulsive, and don't usually access things like birth control. And they end up having sex with each other and having kids as a result. And to be honest, if the court system didn't, and if the woman wasn't forced biologically to be lumped with the child, we would have the same problem but with single fathers. If for whatever reason males had to carry the children and courts were biased towards always giving them custody, we'd have the exact same problem, but it would be a whole bunch of men with children, and then we'd be talking about like alpha females with beta females, or like whatever the fuck.
I also don't like the idea of like shaming stepfathers. Like me personally, I don't think I would want to be stepfather, right? And that's fine. Like I don't think people have to do it, but like I don't like the idea of like shaming that. Like
It's not shaming, but it's just kind of pointing out like things that
it does feel
have
like in the
taken
red pill,
place.
like, it does feel like in the red pill they do shame the idea of like a stepfather, they're like a simp cuck, right? Versus like I don't know, like,
I don't agree with that either. But I mean, I
yeah,
can
but like
kind of
it's good for society if men are being stepfathers, so right, versus these kids growing up themselves. So I don't know.
But do you agree with Kevin Sabians that most guys would not want to be stepfathers if they had options? I think a guy with
Yeah, that's
options
probably true.
would not choose to be a stepdad.
Probably. I think
Yeah.
most people would opt to be step parents because being a step parent and the like step parenting is extremely difficult. In like so many ways. Like nobody's gonna be signing up for that. But like
And and Kevin Samuels used to say that, like, a man doesn't, like, providing for another man's seed doesn't it sort of doesn't align with his nature in a way. Do you agree with that?
Well,
I
no, I mean,
don't-
I think a lot of these stepfathers, they grow to love their kids. Like my mom's fiance, his father was really abusive, like really bad. Like used to beat the kids, beat the wife, and after they got divorced, his mom met a guy who's actually way more alpha than the previous dad. He was like a Vietnam War veteran, like really like your typical macho tough guy. And he considers that person his father because that person was like his father figure, and he raised him as his own kid, and that was like overwhelmingly like a good experience for that guy.
Yeah.
So I think that like it can work out really, really well. I don't know about this like biological strategy thing. I think that like, look, if you love the woman and you feel like being a father to those kids, and again, like me personally, probably wouldn't do it, right? But if a guy feels like,
But
that,
why don't you want to do it, Alex?
well, because I don't even really want to have kids in general, period.
Okay.
But yeah, I think me, but also I'm in a unique position. I have a lot of options, dude. I don't need to like
Exactly. That's kind of the point I was making. That I think that if you look out in the marketplace, people that have options would probably choose a person that doesn't bring
less
kids
than.
into the situation.
Sure, but that's not because it's like this idea of like men are worried about their seed. I think is like not precisely it. There is some element of probably like I want my own biological children, but like I said, most people who marry and where they're a step parent, they also have their own biological children.
Right.
The issue is people don't like baggage, right? This is the same reason why if you have a choice, if you give women, you're like, these two men are identical, but one's 6'3" and one's 5'6". Everyone's like, yeah, I'd prefer the more ideal partner. One's super handsome and attractive, and the other one's like an uggo. Which one do you want? Everyone's like the more attractive person. The problem is that like this isn't really how dating plays out in the real world because most people don't get their selection of ideal partners. They get a couple of options. They end up growing attached to people who are messed up and miserable, and they trauma bond and they get connected and they have kids together and things are messy. Like this isn't how human relationships work, and it's also probably not how evolution works.
Yeah, I agree. I think people talk about I wouldn't date a single mom, blah blah blah, and they met a girl that they really like, and then their whole philosophy goes out the window. I think that happens a lot more than.
Wait, guys, I wanna bring on the next person. He's going crazy in the comments. You can still stay on AB. And
Okay.
we can circle back.
You're reinforcing him for baiting you.
What?
I said you're reinforcing Malcolm for baiting and whinging.
Oh, well, I'm just really curious what the fuck he has to say. I mean, he's been going so hard for saying he wants to discuss something with me. All right, what's up?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Perfect. So
you were super excited about this. So what did you want to talk about?
yeah, so fundamentally, my problem with you, I watch your channel almost shocked that people listen to you. And fundamentally, my problem with you is this. You have provided zero evidence that you yourself have ever fucked a girl above a 6. Do you disagree? Before just yes or no, agree or disagree. If your channel was called Dating Advice to Get 6.5,
am I going to be able to respond? Okay. So,
yes. Just let me finish my sentence and I'll let you go. I'm literally in the middle of a sentence. If the channel was called How to Get Girls 6.5s and Below, I would have no issues with you. But for you to masquerade as this coach and your girlfriend is a 6.2 at best, and all your infields, all the demonstrations are with these nasty girls. And I've been to Miami. I fucked girls in Miami. So I know what it's like out there. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Are you done? Or there's going to be more of a monologue? Okay. So yeah, I fundamentally disagree with that assumption. So I have a whole section on my website where I show love reports. So I'll just pull it up right now. So here we have this chick I hooked up with. You think she's busted?
Well, we can't see her face, but we'll give you the benefit of the doubt just based on body that no, she's above a 6.
Okay. Then we have, let me see. What's her
What, by the way, what year is this? Was this when you had an active YouTube channel?
Yeah, I already had a YouTube channel. There was this chick, Polish Virgin.
Hey,
There's
you're going too fast. You're going too fast. You can't kind of. Let's go slowly. I gave you the first one. The second one, we have kind of how can we judge? Her body is kind of, there's nothing spectacular with her body, right? So it would be based on the face, and we can't see her face. What makes you? How can you guarantee this girl's is above a 7 based on this? Tell me how.
I think she has a really good body, a really pretty
I
body.
thought you're into the porn star look, and you have some model type body, and you're saying she has a really good body. You're contradicting. No.
Relax. Relax, dude.
No, you're just going too fast. I'm not rushing you, but don't go too fast.
Take it easy. So how can we judge? I don't know. My goal isn't to like impress a bunch of random people on the internet. This is just
I'm not asking you to impress me. I'm just asking you to provide evidence that you're qualified to teach.
I'm gonna start muting you if you keep talking over me. Just relax.
Okay, go ahead.
So my goal isn't to like impress random like skeptics on the internet that I fuck really hot girls. It's just to provide proof of concept for people who are like, you know, who want to get better at Tinder. But so yeah, that's the whole point of this section of my website. Like this girl I hooked up with, I typically can't really show.
What you're not answering the question. How can that be legitimate evidence that you are qualified to teach guys how to get girls above 6.5? You're just showing us the picture of some girl's ass. We don't know what her face looks like. How is that real evidence? Why don't you show the videos? You have videos, right? Video demonstration.
I can't show a girl's face for privacy reasons.
But you have videos on your channel. Why don't you use those girls?
Why don't you just release a sex tape, Alex? That would
no.
Don't. I actually do have a sex tape.
No. Don't act like that's what I'm asking. You're not being. No, don't act like you have girls on your channel. You have videos of girls on your channels. Why don't you use them as evidence? We can see their faces, right? So why don't you say, here's a girl that's hot that I had in this demonstration? Don't show these pictures. Show the girls where we actually saw their face, or use your actual girlfriend. You're in Miami and you're in Miami and you're a dating coach, and that's your girlfriend, and we're supposed to take you seriously.
I'd appreciate it if you don't attack my girlfriend. She's not here. It's also really
why I'm not saying anything bad about her.
I'm gonna need you.
Your girlfriend's ugly. I'm not saying anything bad about her.
I'd appreciate it if you don't involve my girlfriend. She's not here, right? And it's also really disrespectful to do that. She's never done anything bad to you, so I appreciate it if you don't involve my girlfriend. You can have a discussion with me and attack me, but please don't insult my girlfriend. Because I know for a fact you would never do that in real life. So you're just doing this because you're anonymous right now. Okay.
Wait. I'll challenge you on that. I've been to Miami many times. First of all, I don't have any problems with your girlfriend, but objectively, we can say what she is looks wise. How's that an insult? Are you a 10? How's that an insult?
Because I don't consider my girlfriend unattractive. I think my girlfriend is very attractive.
I didn't say she was unattractive. I said she's a 6.
There's no. Okay, well, I think my girlfriend's not a 6. See, that's the thing.
What do you think? Ask the chat to brutally, honestly rate her.
I'm not going to ask.
Why?
Have up. No
How is
face.
this? You made her public. You made her public. How?
I'm gonna keep muting you, dude. You can't stop. You can't keep talking over me. It's really annoying, and I can't finish a point. So once I'm done talking, then you can speak. I'm giving you a chance to air out all your grievances. Most content creators would not let you do that, by the way. So just be grateful and don't talk over me. Okay, so the reason that I don't want to get into dick measuring contests about my girlfriend, because number one, I think it's very cringe. Number two, this is the woman that I love, so I'm obviously not going to be in favor of anything that insults her. And number three, looks are somewhat subjective. Some people might think that she's an 8. Some people might think it's a 6. What random people on the internet think about my girlfriend is 1,000% irrelevant to me. It makes zero difference. You could think my girlfriend is the ugliest creature in the world. I don't care. Doesn't matter. Makes no difference to me. All right, now I will unmute you.
Wait, so rating her is insulting her? Because you
keep saying that my girlfriend is unattractive.
That's what I said. I said she's a 6.5 at best.
Okay,
that's my opinion.
I disagree. Next.
Okay, but don't say I'm insulting her. I don't think that's an insult.
Okay, I disagree. Next.
Okay, so do you have any evidence that you yourself are qualified to teach guys how to get girls above a 6? because you started going through the pictures. Why don't you show videos? You have these demonstrations. Say, here's a demonstration with this girl and she's an 8. You have zero evidence.
Well, that's not true at all. I can show you.
Okay, yeah, let's go to the videos, yeah, and show us. And why is it bad to ask the chat to rate your girl? Why
are you so obsessed with my girlfriend?
I'm not obsessed with you. You made her public and you call yourself a dating coach, and that's the best you can get. How are you a dating coach?
See,
how's that a dating?
You're not insulting my girlfriend. That's the best you can get. You see how you're constantly insulting her?
Well, you made her public.
Well, first of all, though, I did not make her public. She's not a public figure. She likes to come on my channel to support me.
So you bring her on your channel and you don't consider that making her public?
Malcolm, why don't you turn on your camera so we can see what you look like? I'm very curious.
Because I'm not a public figure.
Oh, so we should attack my girlfriend's look.
You're the one making. I think you make $20,000 to $30,000 a month doing this, right? You're a public figure. You put yourself out there. Why are you? I'm not a public figure. I'm challenging your credibility.
Malcolm, though.
I'm challenging your credibility. How am I? Why are you worried about me? I'm not a public. I'm not making. I'm not selling anything.
Why are you so worried about my girlfriend?
Oh, baby, you don't need to defend him. Let me and him talk one on.
I'm not gonna mute you again. Don't worry. My girlfriend's not fucking you. That's for sure. So don't worry. You don't have to. You don't have to be so focused on my girlfriend. All right. Like, you seem to be obsessed about her. I'm not insulting her. As you proceed to insult her 30 seconds later, it's super duper cringe.
You're being obsessed with her.
No face, no space.
You literally have been talking about her. I would be curious if you can turn your camera on. So
Alex, can I say something?
No, I won't, because I'm not a public figure.
No face.
I'm not.
What are you scared of?
That I'm gonna have my personal info on the internet, and I'm not a public figure. What do you want? Are you saying something you'd be embarrassed about in real life? Are you trying to get the chat away from the fact that you have no evidence that you're qualified to teach guys how to get anything above a 6? Are you trying to derail that? Show the evidence.
Okay. Have you actually gone through my YouTube channel?
Yes, I've seen. I laugh that people take you seriously. You're in Miami, dude.
Got a video of him laughing.
Because you keep saying stuff about me, right? Let's do a $10,000 bet as well, that we will go to Miami, me and you, because I've been to Miami. We can't film it or anything, but we'll find some way to set this up.
If I'm doing this, we're definitely filming this. If I'm thinking,
why? We can put the money in escrow or something.
No. If we're doing this, it's going to be public. Okay, so here's the chick I did the porno with. She's at the top. This chick.
What's up, guys? We got a special video for you today.
You rate her.
I think Carla's pretty attractive.
No. What is she? Rate her out of 10.
I don't know.
And let's see. Okay, let's see what the chat thinks.
I don't care what the chat thinks. This is Raven. This is a girl I was sleeping.
What's up, guys? Today I have a special video.
Yeah,
I'm joined by Raven.
What do you rate her?
I think she's pretty good.
Rate her. I'm saying, do you have a single 8 and above on your channel?
What?
Do you have a single 8 and above on your channel? You're in Miami. You are in Miami, dude.
Stop.
You are in Miami.
I'm gonna keep muting you every time you talk over me. Okay. So you're not going to be able to do this like cringy tactic where you just keep talking over me and raise your voice. Anyway, so yeah, I think those two girls are pretty attractive. I don't know exactly what they are, maybe 7.5, maybe 8, whatever. I don't understand why that even makes a role. There's also a lot of girls I've hooked up with that I wasn't able to show publicly because
but that's you don't have any evidence, right? Okay,
your whole argument is that you can't show one girl that's above a 6. I just showed you 2 girls that are above a 6. So
let me repeat. My whole argument is that you should call your channel "How to Get Girls 6.5s and Below."
But I just showed 2 girls above a 6.5.
That's not very trendy.
Well, yeah. Okay, you claim to have been with like
would probably be a better name.
Yeah, or something like that. And
I just showed you 2 girls above a 6.5. So your claim is
okay. Can you? Well, I don't really know. They're like mediocre. Just no one who thinks of Miami thinks of that, right?
Can we see some of the girls you've hooked up with? I want to.
But I'm not a coach. I'm not a coach. I'm not making $30,000 a month misleading incels on the internet. So why are you? Don't compare yourself to me.
Do you know how cringe you sound coming online,
so good.
whining in the side chat for like 15 minutes, insisting that you be let on, then coming on, whinging, interrupting with your, like, I don't know where you're from, talking about how he can't get anything over 8. Like you're a fucking man-child. Like, do you realize how pathetic you sound, whinging because you would like the women on Alex's channel to be a little bit hotter for your taste? Like, who the fuck cares? Nobody asked. Nobody cares.
I mean, the premise of your whole argument is that you don't think the girls I'm sleeping with are attractive. Okay, fine. You're telling your opinion. I'm just curious because I'm curious what to use an attractive girl. So maybe you can show us some videos or some photos of you with girls, so I can see what an attractive girl looks like. Because these girls are attractive to me, but I'm curious to see your super high standards. I bet you're not going to show us shit. I bet you're not even going to turn your camera on. You're just one of those random people who just talk shit, right? But is never able to do anything themselves. But prove me wrong. Let me see the quality of girls you're getting with.
Awesome. You can keep saying you're not going to turn on your camera a million. I will not turn on the camera. I'm not sure how that's relevant, but we don't have to do all this. We disagree. We can just ask the chat. We can just ask the chat. Show a single girl on your channel that's at least an 8. Ask the chat. That the chat can agree with you. We don't have to argue, right? There's a chat here. Let's see what the chat thinks.
I know you are desperate.
I don't know why she's chiming in, but I'm not.
She's a guest on the channel.
And you're in a public channel.
I have no idea what the topic is. I just came in to talk to you about that. So yeah, just ask the chat. Yeah, ask the chat, dude. Yeah, we don't have to argue. Let's just ask the chat. Say here's a video.
We're not here to cater to you, Malcolm.
What's that?
I'm not gonna ask the chat to do like a cringy rate the hot girl. This is the gayest shit I've ever heard of.
But you're a dating coach. You're a dating coach.
I'm gonna keep muting you. I'm gonna have to treat you like a 5-year-old kid because you can't seem to like let me talk without spurting out. So okay, so you're saying the girls I hook up with are ugly. Okay, that's your opinion. I'm just curious if you can show me what a more attractive girl that you've hooked up with is, so I can see what a hot girl looks like. Show it to me. There we go. Okay, you can now respond.
You're putting words in my mouth. I never used the word ugly. I just said you are 6.5 or below dating coach. I never used the word ugly. That's all I said.
Like,
so I don't think.
Just to be clear,
I don't think 6.5 is ugly.
Ugly.
That's above average. Hold on. But you're in Miami.
You're not coming in.
I don't know. I'm not gonna respond to you, lady. I don't know what you're talking about.
You call above average women. That's not what you're trying to imply here. You're trying to imply only 6.5 with a level of disgust to your voice. You're clearly using 6.5 as an insult. You clearly don't think it's very good. You clearly think that he should have hotter women. Like, I'm sorry, that's self-evident. You wouldn't be coming here getting all bitch mad if you thought 6.5 is like pretty good.
You're also definitely not hooking up with more attractive girls. I just want to point that out because otherwise, then you would not be so apprehensive to show it. But here, I'll play this out a little bit longer for one more second. Here, I'll show you this. This was a recent thing that we did. I'll actually show you some of my exes. So, okay, here we go. Okay, so this is the girl that I used to date. I'm not gonna say her name, but you can see her here. Pretty attractive.
I can not see anything, but
okay, I'll just pull it up a different way. Okay, actually, fuck it. Like I think I've already shown more than enough proof. You can just find this. You can just find this on my like YouTube channel. It's literally my YouTube trailer. You can just pull that up and you can see I posted like 7 to 8 photos with girls.
So
like,
can you rate me?
sentence.
I'm super curious of your rating system. Can you rate me?
We can't see your body, but just based on the face.
You're all about face, so it doesn't really matter, right?
I never said that. Again, you're saying things that are. When did I say that?
Okay, can you rate my face? I mean, I can stand up and spin around, I guess.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yeah, you're a classic 6, which is a guy would fuck you. He wouldn't be embarrassed, but no one's giving him props. Just being brutally honest. If you're gonna put yourself on the internet and say you're giving people advice, we should have the right.
Relax.
Okay.
I'm not mad. Stop coping.
I don't know what's.
So okay. My question is: are you hooking up with?
Chat. Okay, say it from your chest. Say, "Bitch, you're a 6. You don't need all this extra."
Why are you using the word? Why are you acting like I would be disrespectful? Why are you adding that?
Because you said I'm a 6, and then you added all of these
Because
extra
you
things.
asked. I wouldn't have said anything about you if you didn't ask. You
You
asked.
said, what did you rate me? And then you said 6, and then you like went on this long diatribe about like why you're not a bad person for rating me 6. I didn't ask.
No, that's not. I
You
didn't
just
say
said
that. I didn't. You're just. Anyways, but Alex,
All
go
right,
ahead.
anyway, Malcolm, so are you hooking up with like hot girls? Are you hooking up with 8s and 9s?
I'm gonna keep that for less because I have a bet for you. We're gonna meet in person if you accept
I
that.
don't. No, I just want you to answer my question.
Definitely better than your girlfriend. That's
So
for
are you
sure.
hooking
In
up-
Miami.
Okay. Once again, don't talk about my girlfriend. Once again, are you hooking up
Well,
with 8s and 9s?
Not regularly, no.
Okay,
But
so but once in a blue moon.
more than you.
Okay, I'm not asking you about me. I'm just talking about you. So you're hooking up with 8s once in a blue moon.
Yeah. If I'm honest, yeah.
You really thought about that. Okay, so can you show us any ounce of proof for that?
But why would I do that? Ask me why
Well,
me as a.
because I don't believe your claim. So you're asking me.
I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get to that. You're
not gonna talk over me. This kid is so cringe, dude. Stop trying to talk over me. I'm just gonna keep muting you every time and have to treat you like a 5-year-old child. Okay, you're saying that you don't find the girls that I'm hooking up with attractive. Okay, I think that's a really cringy argument. But okay, so I'm willing to entertain this. I showed you several photos, several videos, blah blah blah. You're saying that I'm hooking up with hotter girls than you. I don't believe you. I want to see proof of this claim. So if you're not going to provide proof of this claim, then I'm just going to say that you're a liar.
Okay. Perfect. So you're a public figure, correct?
What does that have to do with anything?
The fact that that's why you have all this public information
You
on the
chose
internet.
to come on. You chose to come on and make a claim, which is that you're hooking up with hotter girls than me.
No. Yeah, I made that claim. The first claim. Are you gonna mute again? Because I see you looking at the. You're not speaking. You're not speaking though.
What?
You're not speaking. So why are you looking like you're gonna mute?
Are you concerned? Like, why don't you just answer?
Well, yeah, of course I'm concerned because I can't speak if you keep muting. Of course I'm concerned.
I'm gonna mute you every time you interrupt me and you spur.
Okay, so yeah, finish your statement then.
I literally asked you why, like you made a claim. I'm saying I don't believe your claim, so provide proof.
I've already told you I will not put anything of my personal life on the internet.
Okay,
you see how you don't let me finish the sentence?
Okay, I'm supposed to reveal personal.
But you're not letting me finish the sentence.
Okay, calm down.
So can I finish the sentence?
Yes, go ahead.
I will not put any of my personal information on the internet because I am not making $20,000 to $30,000 a month like you as a public figure on the internet. What do you not understand the difference? I'm not. I don't have a YouTube channel. I'm not a public figure.
No, it would have been fine, but you came in and you made a claim, which is that you're hooking up with hotter girls than me, which again I think is a really weird dick measuring contest. And I'm saying I don't believe you.
That's not the claim that I made.
I didn't make the claim.
That's not the claim. I just made that claim now.
You're interrupting me again. I'm going to start muting if you every time interrupt. So I'm asking for proof of that claim because I don't believe you. I think you're lying. I think you're an incel. I don't think you get shit. So I want to see proof of that claim, right? The claim that you made. If you can't provide any proof of that claim, I'm going to just dismiss it as a lie.
Then dismiss it, but answer the first claim I made when we started. Because don't try to run away by switching it to me. The first claim I made is that your channel should be called How to Get 6.5s or Below. Correct?
Can you show us like an 8?
That's what the channel. That's what the first. You're trying to find an out. You're trying to find an out by switching it to me. Yes, call me an incel loser. I'm coming to Miami to meet you in person. I will meet you in person. So we will see. But let's forget about that. I have been to Miami. I have fucked probably 12 girls in Miami. All of them hotter than your girlfriend. But let's forget about that. Forget about me for now.
Spur. Keep spurting. Go ahead. Are you done?
So forget about me for now. Can you answer my first statement and don't try to run away? Your channel should be called How to Get 6.5s or Below. Forget about me for now. Yes, I'm an incel loser, but that's fine.
I know you're an incel loser.
That's fine. That's fine. Answer the first statement.
Okay. My response is I disagree. Next.
Okay. So you believe you have proved, you have provided evidence by showing us those pictures.
Sure. Yeah.
And the tattooed girl in the demonstration is an 8 to you.
In
Miami.
I think she's attractive. Yeah.
No. I didn't say is she attractive. Is she an 8 and above?
Bro, it's subjective. I don't know. She's like a 7.5.
Oh, it's subjective. It's subjective. So you don't think guys have a general? Do you think there's any guy on earth who would rate this girl on your show a 9?
Who?
Be
Who are you
honest.
talking about?
The girl
Who are you
who's here right now, not so erudite.
I'm
Because
not,
you
I'm
said
not
it's,
going to do that. Like, do you not understand the concept of basic respect?
she brought herself into it already.
Because you brought yourself on, my man.
I didn't bring her up. She brought her looks into it. She
I would say from the beginning that I am not a 9. I don't care. I'm not upset. I'm definitely not a 9. I don't think many people would say that I'm a 9. I'm just asking you if you could establish who is. What's an 8? Just give me a celebrity, just so we have something to work off of.
Okay, I'll unmute him now. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, I was saying that she brought herself. I would have never brought her looks into it if she didn't.
I'm gonna mute you every time you just. So okay, so she was on the panel. She was an invited guest. You're a random person that kept spurring in the chat until I brought you on. So she has way more right to be here than you, right? She's asking you a question. She says she wants to see what is an attractive girl to you. Doesn't even have to be a girl you've been with. She just wants to see what is an 8 to you.
So, what's the Australian celebrity? We'll just go based on face. The girl, Wolf of Wall Street.
Margaret Robbie.
Yeah, that's an obvious 8+. Or Google any cheerleader of a professional sports team. All of them are 8+.
Why do you keep screaming?
I didn't scream. Maybe I have headphones on. Maybe it's amplifying the
I'm just
sound.
gonna turn your mic volume down like 50%. Okay,
Yeah,
we're good.
So just Google any sports team, their cheerleaders, they're all 8+. You have never in your life, I don't think in your life you have any evidence you've ever been with a girl like that.
Okay, sure. Anyway, is that the main point of contention, is that you don't find the girls I hook up with attractive enough?
That's why are you acting like that's not what I said from the start? Your channel should be called How to Get 6.5s and Below. That's all that I said from the start.
I've heard your marketing advice is genius. Now let me ask you a few questions. I've indulged a lot of your questions.
Why should I answer questions? I'm not a public figure. Why should I answer anything?
Because you came on here and I indulged about 40 minutes of your nonsense. I answered all your questions.
But how is it nonsense? Why was it nonsense?
I'm gonna keep muting you. Dude, this kid is like literally retarded. Okay. I spent 40 minutes basically in what's it called, playing out this little whatever argument that you're trying to make. I've shown you videos, I've shown you proof, I've in good faith engaged with that. What I think most people in my situation would have done was said, look at this incel may have booted you. I didn't do that. So I think it's only fair that you answer a few of my questions. Okay, now we'll unmute you. But if you're refusing to answer questions, then I think it's gonna be more statement about you than me.
But who cares? Whatever you think of, I'm not a public figure.
I'm curious. I want to know a little bit more.
You see how you interrupt me? What you're basically saying is if someone writes a bad movie review, like says this movie's 5 out of 10, then the director's like, well, why don't you show that you can make a better movie? You see how stupid you sound? Why don't you show us you can make a better movie?
There we go. Spurred. Okay, so you're not going to answer any of my questions? You're too scared?
Well, no. Respond to my statement about the movie review being what you're doing right now. You are a public figure. You call yourself a dating coach. You call yourself. Can you let me finish?
No, I want you to answer a few questions. I don't want you to go on a massive tirade or tangent.
It's not a tirade. It's
answering your question. I would like you to answer some of my questions. Are you saying that you're unwilling to answer any questions, that you're too scared? Is that correct? Because if that's the case, that's fine. I can just remove you, right? But I would prefer that if we can have a conversation and you can actually answer.
There's one more thing. Before you're obviously getting you're being triggered, but there's one more thing I wanted to point out.
Being triggered? What? Dude, you're
yes, because you keep muting. And you're trying to act like we're both public figures. This is not John Anthony versus Playing with Fire. I'm a civilian. You've put yourself out there as a public figure, like someone releasing a movie, and I'm a critic saying your movie is 6.5, and you're saying, well, can I ask you a question, movie critic? That doesn't even make sense. But before you boot me, I just want to ask you something.
Wait, hang on, stop. Are you gonna? So you're not gonna answer any of my questions? Is that correct? You can't answer. You're too scared to answer a single one of my questions. Is that where we're at right now?
Well, it just doesn't make sense because I'm a civilian.
Okay, so civilians are not allowed to answer questions.
They are allowed, but not in this. Not in this movie.
Do you see what Oh Baby did when he came on? He asked some questions to us. We asked him some questions. That's how a debate or discussion works. It's not just a one-sided interrogation. Do you think that you're entitled to just interrogate me for 45 minutes? Do you think that you have a right?
Well, that'd be like the movie director saying, "Are you entitled to criticize me?"
I don't care what you have to say about movie analogies.
Well,
so that's how a discussion or debate works: is people ask each other questions.
But we're not. I'm just providing a review.
I don't care about you. It's really weird that you won't answer a single question that I'm going to ask you, even though I've answered a whole bunch of your questions.
But are you saying my movie analogy is invalid? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying you're an idiot. Yes.
Okay. And you see why I say you're being triggered. You're using the words retards and idiots. Aren't you supposed to be a calm alpha male who's always level-headed?
I use those words all the time. Okay, I constantly call people idiots. I think a
Okay.
lot of those words really apply for you. So just to be clear,
why?
I
Because I believe
you can't answer a single one. You're not going to answer a single one of my questions. Is that where we're at? You won't answer. You won't answer any questions. Are you too scared to answer a single question?
You can keep trying to paint it as scared idiot. That dude, please.
Well, then why else would you not answer a question? I just want to ask you.
Because you are the one putting yourself out there, and I'm providing a review.
You put yourself out there. You put yourself out here by coming on and publicly attacking me and my girlfriend. So I didn't throw you under the bus. Okay, you came on here. You publicly attacked me. I've engaged in your criticisms. Now, I would like to ask you a few questions myself. So your analogy makes no sense. I don't understand why you can't answer a few questions. It's really weird.
So me providing a review of your coaching skills is an attack.
Just give me a yes or no question. You're not going to answer any of my questions?
No, yes, go ahead. Because I'd rather answer than you booting me and running away. So go ahead. Okay,
there we go. It took us 25 minutes to get here. Okay, my first question is, how long have you been watching my channel for?
I don't know. I saw that disgusting cringy video where you had you said closing a hot white girl and it was some old lady with the Indian guy. That video.
How long have you been watching my channel?
Whenever that video came out, that's when that caught my attention because you called her hot. I think you've since deleted that video, right? Because you're embarrassed of it.
No, that video is actually still up.
Yeah, post a link so everyone can see what you call a hot white girl.
People can find that video. It's been up consistently.
Yeah, so that video caught my attention.
This is okay. So you've been watching my channel for about a year, right?
Since that video came out, that's when I saw it, and I was like, "What is he talking about?" Do you actually think that girl is hot?
No, you're not going to redirect this conversation. I spent an hour answering your retarded questions. Now you're going to answer my questions. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so how often do you watch my channel? Like, would you say?
I have. It's like asking how often do you watch sports highlights. It's like a joke to me. Like I just like you when I'm passing the time, I'll be like, "What is this guy trolling people as a dating coach?"
That's
like,
what that means. You've seen.
How often do you watch sports highlights? Like similar.
How many of my videos?
Sports criticisms either.
So how many of my videos would you say you watch? Just a guesstimate. Give me a ballpark.
Like I don't think I've ever watched an entire video and I just look at the girls on.
I know. Open Alex's page on a screen share and scroll through, and we can see how many videos have been watched to completion.
Oh, that's a good idea. Let's do that.
Probably none.
Okay, but how many of my videos do you think you have at least started to watch?
No idea.
Just open it up.
Just answer the question, dude. You're dodging.
I just told you I'm not dodging. If I knew, I would. How many videos do you have since that video came out?
Just go YouTube.
Hundreds.
And then
I don't know. Maybe half of them. I don't know.
No shot.
You watched half of my videos, so at least 50 videos.
I don't know. Maybe.
Why would you watch 50 videos, which is at least hours and hours worth of content for someone that you hate this much?
I don't hate you. What the hell?
It seems
I
like
don't even
really.
How would I hate you? The only thing I know about you is that.
Oh man, you literally came in here screaming and attacking me and my girlfriend. Seems like you really don't like me.
I don't know why you keep saying I'm screaming. I swear my mic is amplified.
I'm sure it is your mic. I'm sure it is.
Okay, maybe I have a loud voice. I have been told that on the phone people are always like, stop screaming at me, but I'm not. I definitely don't hate. How would I hate you? It's not personal.
Okay, so you at the very least you dislike me, right?
No, I think you get girls that are 6 point. Okay, are you gonna let me answer your question?
No,
let me answer the question.
Not if you're gonna keep dodging. So would you say you like me?
I'm giving you a direct answer.
Okay, go ahead.
You said, do I hate? Are you crazy? How would I hate you? How is it personal? I think my opinion of Alex the Russian is that he should change his channel to how to get girls that are 6.5s or below. I'm just assessing you as a dating coach. That's it. Nothing else.
Okay,
so how would I hate you based on? That's like saying I hate Mike Tyson because I don't think he's the best.
I'm gonna keep muting you if you're not gonna just like fucking answer the question. Okay, the question is, how do you feel about me as a content creator? Or do you like me, or you control about me, or dislike me? It's really clear that you fucking dislike me as a content creator. Like I don't think it takes a rocket scientist. I think you're better off if you just own that and say, yeah, dude, I really don't like you as a content creator, and then we can have a discussion about it. Versus this weird shit where you pretend like you're like neutral. Okay, go ahead.
No. Okay, so let me answer. I'm not pretending I am judging you the way I would judge a boxing coach or an MMA fighter. You are not qualified. You're qualified to teach guys how to get 6.5s or below.
Can you answer a question without going on your side tangent? You made that point like 20 times.
How is that? You just
We've
asked
all
me how
heard
I
you.
feel.
I'm just asking you, how would you characterize? How would you rate me as a content creator? Would you say you like me as a content creator?
That's so. If you are a skill-based content creator, right? You're not entertaining.
I just want to answer to the question. Would you say you like me as a content creator?
So I
you
can't
dislike me as a content creator.
So I can't I can't make
no,
sure
I just want you to give me an overall. Like for example,
just say it with a single word. Do you like
for example,
content?
I like Kyle as a content creator. You as a person, I think you're a massive dipshit pussy, right? So I dislike.
Okay. Based on what?
Do you see how it's not that
based
hard
on me criticizing you?
Based on you personally attacking me and my girlfriend. So it's not
I
that
didn't.
hard.
I just rated her. I didn't attack you. I rated her.
It's not that hard to come up with an opinion. So I don't know why you can't just own the fact that you dislike me as a content creator.
I absolutely don't look at it. I just think you're not qualified to teach guys how to get.
So do you like me as a content creator then?
I'm rating you the way I would rate a skill-based position like a chef.
Why can't you just answer the question?
Because do I like my chef or do I like my barber? Do I like my chef? It depends on does he do good haircuts? Does he cook good food? That's why are you stupid?
5 stars.
You are a coach, right? You're a coach. So I'm judging you the way I judge another professional, like a barber or a teacher or a boxing coach. And
he's not going to answer the question. I think it's really obvious. This dude. How is that
not answering your question?
If you don't understand that you can.
Are you not a dating coach, or are you an entertainer? You're a dating coach.
Creator, which is the
He's a dating coach.
Have you gone to his dating services?
Alex, are you a dating coach or not?
Have you used his? Have you used it at all? Have you used his dating services ever?
Are you giving dating advice on your channel?
Have you used his dating services ever? I can do this game too. It's amazing.
Yeah, you just repeat yourself over and over again. Okay, dude.
Have you used it?
Clearly, you dislike me, right? Which is fine. You can
absolutely not. I just think you're not a qualified as a dating coach.
So then you like me.
I don't care about your. If you're a good dating, you're not a good dating.
If you don't care about me, then why do you spend like hours of your day watching my videos and come on and have an hour-long tirade going up against like why? If you don't care, then why would you do that?
I didn't say I don't care. I absolutely. I never said I don't care.
Stop. I don't care about Jake Paul. So
when did I say I don't care?
So then, what is your position? Do you like me? You just said before you don't care. So do you like me? Do you not like me?
When did I say I don't care?
You said it earlier. So once again, so clarify. What is your position?
My position is that you should not be making $20,000 to $30,000 a month teaching dating advice out of Miami when your girlfriend's a 6 out of 10.
Okay, so you guys think you're a bad dating coach.
That's my advice. That's my position.
I don't know.
That's my position from the start.
I don't know why this dude just can't.
I cannot believe anyone listens to you.
Okay. Well, you seem to listen to a lot of me.
You are in Miami and your girlfriend's a 6 out of 10 and you're making $30,000 a month giving people dating advice? Are you crazy? That's insane to me.
Is your whole argument just
who listens to you? You're in Miami and that's the best you could do, and you're somehow getting people to pay you?
Okay. Listen, this is not the part where you go on another 20-minute tangent about how you don't find my girlfriend attractive. We've already covered that. Everyone understands here what your feelings are about my girlfriend. Everyone understands here that you don't find my girlfriend attractive. So you don't have to keep repeating yourself over and over again. You don't have to keep repeating the fact that I live in Miami. Everyone knows that. So I'm trying to just get you to like actually give me your opinion on me as a content creator. You seem to be unwilling to do that. So for example, Kyla as a content creator, I like her as a content creator. Like fucking Destiny, I like him as a content creator. Vosh, I'm neutral about him as a content creator. Let's see, Fresh and Fit, I dislike them as content creators, right? It's not that hard to just take a position on this. Unless your position is that I don't care about you, which would not be true since you watch a lot of my shit and you want to come on this channel and like guess I have like a 40 minutes spurt fest. So go ahead.
Sorry, someone was calling me, so so you're asking, so you think I'm dodging the question? Are you a dating coach? Yes or no? Then I'll answer.
I don't want you to answer my question with your question.
But you keep using the word content creator instead of saying a dating coach. That's where the confusion
Okay, so
is.
do you dislike me as a dating coach? Let me rephrase it.
Oh yes, there I can answer. Yes, you shouldn't be. You're in Miami and you're
relax.
There. I'm not dodging. I absolutely think you're a joke of a dating coach.
Okay.
I think it's time to move on.
I'll wait. Give me like 5-10 more minutes with this guy because I feel like we're starting to slowly make grounds. Okay, so my question is why would you spend like 50 videos, watching the advice. Yes, you.
Nothing. I'm just talking to someone on the internet.
Hang on. I'm still finishing. Stop interrupting.
No, no.
Hang on. I'm gonna mute you because you're interrupting. So my question is, why would you watch 50 videos from a dating coach who you think advice sucks? Like, there's a lot of people whose advice I think sucks. You know how many of their videos I watch? 0, because I think their advice sucks. So that's my question to you. Why would you waste your time watching the advice of someone who you think absolutely sucks at their job? Go ahead.
So I listen to your laughable advice when I'm doing like busy work where I don't need to think. And it's the same way I listen to like retarded flat earthers, people who are like the earth is flat, where I'm just laughing that anyone believes that nonsense. It's the same way I'm laughing that anyone takes you seriously as a dating coach in Miami who's showing such mediocre girls on your channel. So I just answer you, right? I listen to you as background noise the same way I listen to flat earth content, just as a joke, just as something in the background as I'm cleaning my room.
Okay, I think you got way too much time on your hands there, my man. When I'm cleaning my room, I'm listening to like shit I actually like instead of shit that I don't dislike. So the second question I have for you is this: is your whole like disdain for me as a dating coach just solely based around the fact that you don't find the girls I've slept with attractive? Is that the whole premise? Have you like ever actually talked to any of the people who've done dating coaching with me, or is it just solely based on the fact that you don't find the girls that on my website attractive enough for you?
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because that's where I actually decided to call in when I saw another part where I used to think, hey, he's probably giving good advice that would work on girls 6.5 and below. Then I actually listened and paid attention to a breakdown you did. And then I was like, okay, I have to call in because even the advice you gave is not even good. So there's more than just the fact that the girls are mediocre and you're in Miami. And that's what I wanted to get to. You know that Zerka breakdown. It's specifically you did it.
I don't care. What part of my advice that you think is inaccurate? Like what part of my dating advice do you think doesn't work?
You did a breakdown of a video of Zerka. You said Zerka Masterclass, where he's basically psychologically, he's doing things that I have done and that would only work on a girl of that looks level. There's that video with the girl where she pretty much almost cries at the end. And you're calling that like a masterclass? Do you know that video?
Yeah, I know that video. So do you think that women who are attractive are completely different than women who are like average looking?
No, again, my only point is that what he did in that video only worked because that girl, first of all, that girl is 19 at the time. So psychologically, she's easily able to be frame dominated. So first of all, you didn't even mention that we have a guy here who's like 27 and a girl who's 19. So that's a big part of it. And the second thing, that girl's like a 6 out of 10 and the guy's like a 9 out of 10. So it's very easy for him to like dominate her psychologically. And you didn't even touch on any of that. So I don't know if you don't understand that or you do understand, but you just want it to seem like, oh, Zerka has amazing game. But my only point is that what he did in that video would not have worked on a 23-year-old 9 out of 10 in Miami. And if you think it would have, you're a retard. It only worked because the girl is some socially awkward 6 out of 10 girl who's dealing with a guy who's 27-year-old, very attractive, like a 9 out of 10 and a 6 out of 10.
Okay, rant over. Okay, so what other parts of my dating advice? You're saying you disagree with one breakdown I did of Zerka. Okay, maybe you have a different opinion on that. But what specific piece of advice that I give that you disagree on?
I just told you I don't.
No, you disagree with my interpretation of a breakdown that involves Zerka. That's fine. But what actual piece of advices that I give that you disagree with? For example, a piece of advice I commonly give is that you should diversify amongst different dating apps. That you should use good lighting and angles to get the best photos. Right? That you should screen sexually in your bio. So I want you to name like specific pieces of advice that I give that you disagree with.
Again, I told you up until that recent video, which was this week. I just look at your channel, I see the mediocre girls, I laugh, and I can't believe it.
But you say you disagree with.
Are you going to let me finish a sentence? You say I interrupt you.
You're going to keep dodging.
Well, so what's the point then? And just boot me if you're not going to let me even answer your questions.
You said you disagree with major parts of my dating advice. So I'm curious.
I never said that. I never said that. I didn't use the word major. I barely even get it.
So you don't really disagree with my dating advice then?
I have no idea what advice you give. I don't want to know the advice from a guy who's getting these mediocre girls in Miami. Why would I listen to you?
So the crux of your argument is that you don't find the girls I hook up with attractive.
Oh, yes, and I would have never called if I hadn't seen that even your actual advice can also be terrible.
But you can't. Yeah. In that video, I didn't give any advice. I was just giving a breakdown of the situation. But
the fact that you call it a master class, how is that a master class?
Can you name a specific piece of advice that I give that you think is wrong?
I cannot, because I told you I just see the quality of the girls, and I laugh that anyone takes.
So you don't actually know if any advice I give is right or wrong.
But I know the result, which are mediocre girls.
You just find the girls that I hook up with attractive, but you can't.
And you're in Miami. If you were in like in some rural, you're in Miami. You're in Miami.
I'm gonna keep. Everyone knows that I'm in Miami. You don't have to keep repeating that every 20 seconds. So yeah, I mean, I think this kind of tells you what you need to know. This dude can't literally name a single piece of advice that I give. So the crux of your whole argument is based on the fact that you don't find the girls I hook up with attractive, which is fine, man. That's your prerogative. I guess, I mean, I really doubt you're hooking up with any girls at all, since you have the time to fucking watch content creators that you hate and also spurge out this level on the chat. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. So I think I don't really know if there's like much more for us to even cover, since you can't really name any specific piece of dating advice I give.
Why would I want to know your advice when the quality of the girls? Look at the result. You're in Miami and that's your result. Why should I listen to you?
You don't have to keep repeating that in Miami. So your whole thing was that I asked you.
It's a big fact because there's a lot of hot girls in Miami. That's why I repeat it.
I asked you.
There's a lot of hot girls in Miami, and
I keep muting. This guy's so annoying. I asked you before, is your whole argument based on the fact that you don't find the girls I hook up with attractive? You said, no, it's not. I disagree with your dating advice too. So I was curious what that dating advice is, but you seem so far not to be able to name a single piece of dating advice that I give that you disagree with. So it is solely based on the quality of the girls.
Dude, stop putting words in my. It is. I told you up until that Zerka video, it was entirely based on the quality. Now you're saying that I don't know what advice you give. The girls, I don't want to know your advice.
You watch 50 of my videos. Wait, you watch 50 of my videos?
I've watched 50 flat Earth videos as a joke, as I'm doing busy work. You think I think the Earth is flat? No, but it's funny to me. Just like it's funny to me that people take dating advice from a guy who has a 6.5 girlfriend in Miami. It's a joke. It's hilarious to me that you're making all this money. Who is paying you? How do you even have a full-time income? Look at the girls on your channel.
Look at the girls. Yeah, Spurk session. All right, bro. I don't care about your Spurk sessions. I just want to get like clear answers to my questions. So just for the record, just want to confirm this one more time. You cannot name, aside from the Zerka video where I didn't even give advice, I just gave a breakdown, my interpretation of events. You can't name one single piece of dating advice that I give that you think is wrong. How do you know that my dating advice isn't completely on point? And those are just not the type of girls that I personally find attractive. How do you know that, since you don't know what my dating advice is?
Because you have. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Because you have had videos where you talked about that you like the porn star Kim Kardashian look, which is full in Miami, and you never have those girls on your channel. It's a joke. You've told us your type. You have told us you like that Kim Kardashian type. Show one of those girls on your channel. You're in Miami. They're everywhere.
I'm going to keep muting you. You'll have to keep repeating that I'm in Miami. You'll have to keep screaming at the top of your lungs like a little bitter incel, okay? You can just have a normal conversation with me while like man to man, not like screaming like a 12-year-old little brat. Okay, so I'm well aware of the fact that you don't find the girls that hook up with attractive, okay? You made that point very clear. I'm also aware of the fact that I live in Miami. I wasn't sure about that before you came along, but you reminded me of it, so now I know where I live. So yeah, I mean, like you're saying that like, well, I don't find those girls attractive, or you say you like this, you like that. First of all, I don't really find Kim Kardashian that attractive. I think she's a little bit overdone. But yeah, the kind of girls I date are typically the kind of girls that I find attractive. I'm literally having a porn star on my channel on Monday who's going to be coming over. We're going to be filming content together. I've literally filmed like also like, I don't want to actually put this out there, but I've filmed like some pornos which are on the internet, so you can like watch all that shit if you really want to see. So yeah, I mean,
why are you telling me about who you're having on your channel? What does that have to do with my argument that you are not you're interviewing a porn star means that you're qualified to? You have shown no evidence that you are qualified to teach guys how to get the type of girls you've admitted.
How do you know you haven't?
Wait, are you lying now? Have you not said on your channel that you like the porn star look? Have you not said that?
Have you? I don't care.
What do you mean you don't care? You're just running away. You're being exposed. You have said multiple times you like the porn star look, big butt, big everything.
Yeah, those
girls are everywhere in Miami.
stop talking over me. Okay. I have said many times that I like the porn star look, and I also
And
like.
where are those girls on your channel?
You're not going to unmute yourself. You're not going to talk over me, dude. This is your last final warning. If you do this shit again, if you keep talking over me, I will boot you, and then I will.
Dude, you're not letting me speak
because this is not your time to talk. You just want a 10-minute monologue.
No,
So
that's not true.
the answer. Stop complaining. The answer to your question is that I like porn star type of girls. I also like mini petite girls. So, for example, the current girl I'm dating falls into the mini petite thing. The previous girl I was dating falls more into the porn star look. She had fake tits. She had a big booty, right? So I tend to date both types of girls. I tend to date either the porn star look types of girls, or I tend to date the girls who are very small and petite. I'm kind of into both of those things. So, yeah, so that's kind of the simple answer to that question. Let's just move on to this pickup competition. So you want to do a pickup competition with me? I am in. Let's do it.
Yeah, bring me. I'll sort out the details, and then you can bring. I'll come back on. I'll come back on.
I'm not going to have you on my channel again. Like you're
Why? Why? If we're gonna do
we can. Okay, but my requirement is that it all has to be filmed. It's all public.
Well, no. Why? If you should be concerned about. Why should you not be concerned that you're going to get paid? Isn't that the key?
Why would I take time out of my day? Why would I spend?
Because I'll pay you. I'll pay. You're only making $20,000 to $30,000 a month.
Why would I hang on? Why would I take time out of my day to do something just to prove to your point when I would rather film content for my channel? Why would I not use that time to film content for my channel that my audience is going to appreciate? So I'm 100% down to do the pickup competition. However, we are definitely going to videotape it. It's not going to be just my word versus your word. We're going to legit have like objective evidence that the audience can evaluate. So you're saying you don't want to do that?
Dude, I'm not concerned about those details because it won't even be close. But there's a big problem. I only go to nightclubs. You don't go to nightclubs because you can't compete there. That's the big problem, right? I also find it funny. You always talk about how you're in Miami and you never go to nightclubs. Dude, why did you not go to nightclubs in Miami? Can you answer that? Because you can't compete. I only go to nightclubs when I'm in Miami.
Stop screaming. Relax.
Okay, go ahead.
I like how he goes from like super loud to like super quiet. He's like, okay,
no, I just think this is hilarious.
Okay. The reason I don't go to clubs is the same reason I've said many, many times. I don't like clubs. I don't like loud music. I don't like that type of environment. So that's the reason I don't go to clubs. I haven't been to a club in like 7 years. I just simply don't like it.
Every guy I've ever met in my life who said they didn't like going to nightclubs is because they go to nightclubs and they don't get any girls. No one who actually can get girls in nightclubs wouldn't like nightclubs. So
I hate nightclubs. I think they're annoying. I don't like also the fact that it's really loud.
Because you can't get any of those club hot Miami girls. That's my whole point.
Let's do this pickup competition that you suggested.
In a nightclub.
We can't film in a nightclub. We can go to a nice lounge.
Dude, we can have a third party there. I'm way better looking than you. I'm not concerned.
Why don't you show us what you look like?
Because I'm not a public figure. Are you
I'm not a public figure. Spoke session. But you're so much better looking than me. Show me what you look like.
Why? I'm not a public figure. You'll see in person. We'll make a 10K bet in a nightclub in Miami.
I don't care about meeting up with you. I think you're a massive weirdo, and I would rather not meet up with you. However, I'm willing to do it for the content for the channel because I think the audience would get a massive laugh out of watching us do a pickup competition. So my only
in a nightclub.
Can you not pick up girls outside of a nightclub? Can you not do it at a lounge? Are you incapable of picking up a girl at a lounge? You can only get girls at a club?
I 100% only go to nightclubs. I don't think I've ever been to a lounge in my life.
So your game doesn't work anywhere outside of a nightclub?
I've never even tried anything. I love nightclubs. I've been to Miami many times specifically for the nightlife, and that's why I think you're a joke because I've seen the girls in Miami.
Once again, back to the girls. You keep repeating yourself.
Okay, well, that's my entire point.
Keep spurting.
Why do you say back? I've never left my point. My entire point is you're.
I'm just gonna keep muting this dude because he's getting super annoying. All right, listen, dude, I am down to do this competition just because it's good content for the channel. Unfortunately we cannot do it in a nightclub. Even if I wanted to, you can't.
$10,000 escrow.
We can't even film at a nightclub, right? Okay, so
we'll find a third party that we agree on. That's why you want to.
The only way I'm doing this competition.
That's what you want to do it. Roll.
Stop. The only way I'm doing this competition is for content for my audience. I have no reason to prove anything to you. I would rather not meet up with you.
Do it for the 10K. Do it for the 10K.
I'm gonna remove you, and then when I finish talking, I'm gonna bring you back on. Then we're gonna kick you off. All right. Anyway, my only motivation for doing this is for content for my channel. I don't care about you. I think you're really weird. I would rather not spend my time meeting up with you. I don't really need the money. I'm pretty well set on that department. So my only motivation is to do a competition, is to do some good content for the audience. If you're not willing to agree with that, then we have nothing to discuss. But if you're willing to agree to that, then I'm 100% in. Okay, you can finally respond, and then there we
So
go.
you wouldn't do it for 10K? It's not worth it?
I don't even really believe you would pay me, and no, I
That's
don't.
why
Really
I said escrow. We don't
yeah,
have
how
to.
are we gonna do? The only way I'm doing this if it's a public content.
You're a business owner. You don't know about putting something in escrow? What?
My condition is that this has to be public. I'm not doing the private meetup.
No, private. We need a third party to judge because it won't even be close. I'm not worried. I know guys like you. You're probably like a 5'9", like a.
Okay.
I know why you don't. Every guy who doesn't want to go to a nightclub. I've never met a guy who doesn't like nightclubs who would.
Okay. I'm gonna keep muting you. Just go on a tangent. Anyway, dude, here's my final offer: is that we can do this, but it's gonna be filmed on my channel, right? That's the final offer. You can have a neutral third party there if you want, but I'm not gonna fucking do a private hangout with you with a dude who I think is really weird.
Why do you keep saying private?
Okay, I'm gonna take you off. I'm not gonna do a meetup with a dude who I think is super weird and annoying just to like win a bet. I don't really care about that. But if you're okay with putting it on my channel, if you agree to that, then we can absolutely 100% do it. This is your final chance to respond. Then I'm gonna kick you off once and for all. Go ahead.
First, you didn't even say what does the winner get. So are you agreeing to the 10K?
What does the winner get?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it would just be. I don't know.
10,000. 10,000.
We can do a few thousand, sure.
No. 10,000.
I'm not gonna make a $10,000 bet. We can do a few thousand.
What? Aren't you gonna crush me? I'm an ugly incel, according to you. Why do you care? In escrow 10,000. I'm an ugly incel, according to you.
Are you agreeing to do it publicly on my channel?
Well, I mean, can you blur me out?
No, we're gonna show the whole thing.
No, you can. So wait, you've refused inside a nightclub?
What?
Okay. In a nightclub. Are you gonna let me speak?
Yeah, I'm going to quickly let you answer the question before we wrap up. I don't want to hear another Spurg session. So here's my condition is that we film it. Do you agree to that or do you not agree to that?
But you just said you can't film inside a nightclub.
We're not going to do this inside a nightclub. We're going to do this.
Then we already have nothing because I know you can't do it in a nightclub because you can't compete there.
Okay, well, I know you can't do it at a lounge because you can't compete there. So that's kind of where we're at.
I don't even. What do you mean by a lounge? Like, what is like a restaurant?
A lounge. It's like it's like a crossover between a club and a bar. It's not that loud. People can talk to each other. You can hear things.
We don't really have those here, I guess.
Yeah, they have them everywhere.
Okay, well, I've never been to one, honestly.
Well, here's your chance to shine.
No, why would I go to somewhere I have no experience? I don't know. We can go to Live.
Well, you said no, we can't film at Live. They check all that shit. You can't get.
Then why can't we get a third party? When you talk about rules,
my only motivation to do this is for content.
But what about the 10K?
I don't care about your money.
But that doesn't make sense because the content will not make you 10K. That one video with me will not make you 10K, so it doesn't even make sense. So
right, my only motivation.
So you're basically saying you're willing to lose out on money.
First of all, I don't think I'm actually going to get the money. I think there's a very small chance.
I just said escrow. Why do you keep saying that?
Second of all, I don't actually think you have $10,000. I think
then we won't do it
on some kind of bait and switch. And third of all, I think these things can get very dicey.
Stop. I'm
just going to remove. Okay. Anyway, I think these things can get very dicey if we're not filmed because you're going to claim you won. I'm going to claim I won. And the third party, like we're not going to be able to agree on a neutral third party because I'm not going to trust anyone that I don't know, and you're not going to trust anyone that I know. So doing it without camera is not good. And then it's going to get this messy situation with escrow. And I'd rather not spend my time getting lawyers trying to prove that like, oh, I really won and dealing with all that like fucking headache. Okay. So so that's why I don't really care about the money aspect. I just care about the content aspect. Look, you can either do it or you're not do it. But if you don't want to do it, that's fine. We don't really have much to talk about.
You can, dude, it won't be close. You can pick the third party. I don't think you're a joke to me, dude. You can pick the third party. It won't be like I know the type of guy you are. I can see it.
Right, relax. I think you're a joke too. So anyway, so are you going to agree to filming or not? Just answer the question.
I just told you can pick the third party. Why are you going back to filming?
I don't care about that. I don't care about the money.
So now you're changing it. You just said you won't do it because you don't. I won't agree.
Okay, maybe you will be okay with me meeting a third party. It doesn't matter because I only want to do it for content.
So you've just changed it. Even though I'm letting you pick the third party, you don't want to do it.
I'm still my position was.
Who's the coward now? Who's the coward?
What I will say one final word. Then I'll bring you on for 30 seconds, and I'm going to kick you out. And just, yeah, okay. My condition has been the same. I'm only doing this for content. I think you're really weird. I don't want to spend time with you. It's unenjoyable to me. I don't really care about taking your money. I don't think ultimately, I think it'll be way more of a headache than it's worth. I think you're probably going to try to fight me on it, and then we're going to have to I'm going to have to get lawyers involved. So I don't really feel like doing any of that, but I am down to do it for content. So once again, you can either say yes or no. I don't want to hear you go on a side tangent. I don't want to hear you talk about how much I live in Miami or how the girls I hook up with are busted. Just answer that question, and that's it, and we can move on.
Pick the third party plus escrow. If you refuse this, you're a coward and you know you're gonna lose.
Well, I
Pick
think
the
you're a
third
coward.
party plus escrow. There's no lawyers.
I think you're a coward because you won't show your face, you won't show any of the girls you hook up with, and you won't accept my competition to the public.
Because I'm not a public figure, you retard. Third party plus escrow, stop hiding. Third party plus escrow, stop hiding.
Videotape, stop hiding.
I'm not a public. How's it hiding? You're already on the public. I'm not a
I thought you
public
were
figure.
so good looking. Why are you afraid to show your face in public?
Third party plus 10K, no lawyers. Don't worry. It's okay.
Yeah, I don't believe you for sure. Okay.
Third party will decide everything.
Okay, so the answer is no. The answer is no. We have nothing else to talk about. Yeah, I mean, I'm willing to entertain this. I'm willing to do the competition, but yeah, we really have nothing to discuss. You just keep going on tangents. I'm going to bring you back on to say my final thoughts, and then I will kick you off. Okay, just be quiet. I think
third party plus 10K.
Don't talk.
Don't bring me on. You're a coward.
Don't talk.
10K, third party.
Okay, I just have to remove it. This dude isn't coming. All right. Anyway, I was going to say it directly to your face, but listen, if you want to come and meet me in Miami, I'd be more than happy. You can try to say it to my face directly. You think my girlfriend's ugly? I guarantee you will not do that, and that will never happen. But also, I'm down to do the competition, right? We can do it, but my condition is it has to be videotaped. So if you don't want to do that, then we really have nothing to discuss. I sort of feel bad that you are so bitter and resentful that you spend you watch 50 videos of people that you hate. But at the same time, I think you're a massive douchebag and a dickbag. And if we ever met up, I would say that to you directly. Anyway, I don't really think we have any much more to discuss. If you change your mind and you decide to film it, then you can come back and we'll talk about it. All right, anyway, what do you think about that shit show?
Well, while you guys were doing that, I was watching TikToks about having sexy. So, that was good.
Man, that guy gave me a massive fucking headache. He was just going in circles over and over again.
I felt like a kid playing on Snapchat on her phone while her parents are having fights that lead to a divorce in the background. It's like, Gerald, I fucking hate you and I'm going to divorce you.
Just blur his face like you did for looks for. Okay, fine. I'll even accept that. I will agree. I will consent to blur his face, but it still has to be all videotape and audio tape.
That's crazy that he's that confident with just the club. I mean, that's pretty sad if you only have game in the club. I don't know.
I mean,
it's not something to brag about.
I just cannot imagine the dude being good since he's screaming at the top of his lungs every 10 seconds.
And club game is so much harder. It's you got to be in sections and the girls are in the other section. You got to walk over. It's very hard to club game.
I wonder how much he tries to flex with money and use women's hypergamous nature against them by just, trying to get the, like we were talking about how there's certain levels for certain girls. And he's just trying to get the girls that are super hypergamous. It's not that.
I just cannot imagine this dude being good with chicks for several reasons. Number one is that he spurts really hard all the time, and I feel like anytime he gets pushed back from a girl, he's probably going to spurt, which is unattractive. Number two, it seems like he's really embarrassed about showing his face, and I think it goes further than the privacy thing. He keeps saying that oh, I'm not a public figure. Okay, fair enough, but you're the one that challenged me. You're the one that bringing this up. So then I have a right to see evidence too. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. We're exploring the mind of a semi-crazy person, I guess.
No, Ruda.
Yeah, man, that guy was pathetic.
Are you gonna debate Rolo anytime? I know he's always calling you out on Twitter and shit.
I've agreed to the debate many times too. I've said that.
I was talking to Ruda.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if he wants to pay for my flight, I'll come sooner. But I'll be in Vegas in October, so we can make a pit stop at his place if he wants.
I'm gonna go next month. I'm really excited about it. He's saying he'll take anybody, and he's been calling out everyone apparently. So,
sweet.
Let it go there.
So here's my precondition. What I don't want to see happen if I debate Rolo is for him to hide behind Sartain, or pull anything.
Together.
Yeah, I'm gonna go against both of them.
Yeah,
I disagree with Sartain's program.
Sartain to talk less. because Rolo just hides. Yeah, he just doesn't say anything.
I mean, sometimes he's just goalposting a lot. Like that's what I've noticed with Sartain. He's really good at kind of like moving away from what like the points that I try to make up because I've already talked. I've had him on my show a couple of times, so I'm excited to have this third round with him. It's I'm pretty prepared for it this time. The same with Rolo. I don't think anybody's brought up some of the points that I'm going to bring up. Destiny took some of my main Steelmans, but I came up with more that will make it better, I think.
Here's what I'm actually. So my initial proposition was, let's do a debate, neutral studio. You can pick the studio. I'll even agree to Fresh and Fit. I've talked about that behind closed doors and publicly. He has refused that. He only wants to do it in his studio. So here's my final counter perspective. I will do it at your studio if you then publicly acknowledge that you will come to my studio. And I will even go first. But you have to publicly agree to come to my studio after that within the next several weeks. So that's my final, I guess, negotiation for Rolo. But yeah, I think makes the most sense to do in a neutral venue. He seems to not want to do that, which I think is very sus. But I will even go to his studio if he publicly agrees to go tomorrow.
That's a good way to do it.
I don't think he's going to do it, by the way.
He's dead set on not giving people content anymore.
But Alex, do you know why he's super mad about the whole Anthony Johnson situation?
I know part of the story. I know that they were business partners. They were like, so basically they were like, so Rolo owned 30%, Richard Cooper owned 30%, Anthony Johnson owned 30% of 21 Studios. And then Anthony Johnson found out that Rolo was planning on buying out Richard Cooper shares and then kicking Anthony Johnson out. So what Anthony Johnson did is he preemptively bought out Richard Cooper right before Rolo could do it. And then he basically was able to he controlled the company, and then Rolo got butthurt and left or something like that. Or maybe he kicked him out. I don't know. So it had to do with business dealings, but there was like a lot of things behind the scenes, like Anthony Johnson claims that Rolo doxed the whole audience of the men that were attending to a reporter, and there's pretty good evidence for that too. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think Anthony or his crew doxed Rolo's daughter and where she lived. Rolo always says that. So I think that's his main beef with him is they doxed his wife and his daughter.
Well, I had nothing to do with that. I've never doxed anyone in my life, so I don't know.
Yeah,
Alex, why did you argue with that guy for an hour? Like the whole time to kick him off.
Brad is coming in high.
I know what he was trying to
The views just kept progressively going up and up and up.
I knew it was for views. God damn.
Well, also it's if I kick him off, people are gonna accuse me of dodging criticism, and so
who cares? Let them accuse you whatever you want. And I feel bad for Erudite. I don't think she came on to watch you argue with a dumbass for an hour.
Don't feel bad for me. It's okay.
I
just turned on
have
TikTok.
an idea.
I think it was fun.
I have an idea of what he was trying to say.
I think so, Brad.
So.
Wait, can you hold that thought until I use the restroom just really quickly?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell the audience, I guess. So
everyone must be silent while Alex is gone.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna be silent. Well, I'll compare real quickly. Pickup to any given sport. We'll go with let's go with golf. Okay. So there's certain levels of golf coaches, and so there's coaches that just teach the basics, and then there's coaches who teach the advanced stuff. And that one dude was just trying to say that Alex is only good for coaching the basics, and and I guess in his opinion, Alex wasn't able to coach the advanced stuff.
Is it self-evident that what would work on a less attractive girl wouldn't work? Wouldn't the same things kind of work? Whatever.
Probably.
Good,
I mean, yeah. It's different. I mean, because proving the receipts in stuff like golf or bowling or tennis or boxing or anything like that is easy to do because it's right there. But
assuming that a super hot chick is self-evidently going to be much more difficult than a 6 feels a little cringe. It feels very not understanding how human psychology works.
I think a lot of people get it really complicated. I mean, I've been with different women of different shapes and sizes and ages and stuff like that. It's to me, it's all really dependent on external stuff and stuff I say, stuff they say, you know what I mean? And I think a lot of people complicate it way too much. I mean, it's either are you going to shoot your shot or not? That's pretty much what it is. Are you going to shoot your shot or not? Are you going to make your move or not? Are you going to, does that really? Yeah, it's like you just said, Kylo. Like, does the attractiveness level of the woman really factor into that? To most, it does. I don't think it should, but that's just me. So I don't know.
Also,
Yeah,
I don't know where this idea comes from that like hot girls are so different than average girls. Like girls are girls. Female psychology is basically the same. Hot girls have more options, maybe, but that doesn't fundamentally change their psychology.
Well, Alex, but wouldn't you agree, just to play devil's advocate, if you're going to like a perfect 10, your game needs to be way better than if you're going to a 6?
Probably on average, but that's simply because she has more options, so she's more picky.
I think I'll be more intimidated. I mean, that's definitely I've felt that. You know what I mean? Like, going out with a woman who's my age is a little less intimidating than a woman who's like substantially younger than me. But I mean,
that was a waste of like an hour of a conversation you had, Alex. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna say that guy was an hour of a waste of time.
I took in 2 minutes what he tried to say in like an hour.
His whole point was, I live in Miami. My girlfriend is not attractive, and the girls I fuck are not attractive. That's his whole argument. That he made, which is it's just funny that he doesn't can't name like one thing that I teach that he disagrees with. So it's just I also will bet any amount of money that dude is not fucking hot girls. Like there's no fucking way.
Yeah, the way you came across, no person would be able to tolerate. I wouldn't be able to tolerate that for any more than like 40 seconds if someone came at me like that.
Bro, I was laughing when he said he listens to you only for fun while he cleans his room. It's like, what the fuck?
My question is like the debate with Rollo, like, why does it they have to be back and forth, like one and done? How many debates do you guys need to do? Are you guys not gonna have enough time to do all the covers or areas you want to cover, or do you just want to do it multiple locations for what? Like this is like the playoffs or something?
No.
Yeah, I want things to be fair. So my ideal choice is neutral location. Rollo is not willing to do that, so I will.
Well, it's not even his studio. That's the thing, though. Like it's a studio that he rents out, so it's still not even.
He has full creative control of that environment.
No,
but if you're allowed to stream through, if you're sharing the stream, if you're going both your locations, what's the worry?
How am I going to share the stream?
Because he would share the stream with you. You'd be able to share the live stream.
It's not a computer. I believe it would probably be. First of all, is it even going to be a stream or is it going to be a podcast? Michael Sartain does more podcasts than he does.
Every debate he's had has been live streamed.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm open to doing it.
I mean, like, what's the whole point of going to different locations if it's going to be one location live stream for everybody to see? Everybody gets to see it at once.
Because I don't trust that dude for shit. I think he's going to pull some sneaky shit. So therefore, even if he pulls some sneaky shit, at the very least, I can countermand that when he comes to my studio.
He's done it in the past.
Wouldn't that be the same thing?
Well documented.
Wouldn't that be what?
Because like if it's at your studio, then he could say the same thing.
But I'm going on his channel first. Like, what do you mean? Like, that's only fair. If like, what are you like? You help me move. It's only fair that I help you move, right? Like, does that not make sense to you?
But what would be considered sneaky shit though? What could that?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, what are you alluding that he may or may not do that sneaky shit? Because again, he doesn't have the power of who's running the stream. There's an engineer there.
Yeah, it's not. That's not like his house or anything. That he doesn't even live there.
It doesn't matter. He has control of that podcast. It's his podcast. I have no input in that.
It's if you're sharing the stream, if it's dual streaming, it's going to both your stream, his channel.
First of all, it's never been announced that this is going to be dual stream. So here's some of the things
he actually has said that every single time he said anybody that wanted to go debate him, he said he'll dual stream it live right here in the studio. But if you guys want to debate him, you got to go to Vegas.
Well, clearly that's not the case because he just went to Miami to debate Destin.
Well, actually, he already had to go out there anyways, and it just happened to be.
I live in Miami. There was multiple studios that offered to host a debate between me. Why didn't he do it?
Well, he didn't really come at him until afterwards with this.
No.
I've been talking about. He said in November, if anybody wanted to debate him, they're more than welcome to go to Vegas and debate him. He's been saying that this entire time.
No, first of all, he was unwilling to debate me or Destiny for a long period of time. In November, he kind of changed his tune. He says, "Well, I'll debate you, but you got to come to Vegas." But it seems like it seems like he just debated Destiny actually twice without them coming to Vegas. So it seems like his policy of you have to come to Vegas is very negotiable. I think what I'm offering is more than fair. I think ideal solution is we do a neutral studio, but I think the second best option is we do a 1-for-1. That's what I did with Donovan Sharp. And as an act of good faith, I went on Donovan's channel first, right? And then he went on my channel. I think that's the only thing that really makes sense. Why are you not in favor of that? Like, why is that so?
Because what I'm saying is like, this is how I look at it.
Oh, that's cool.
If you're the one that wants to debate him, you're asking for him for the debate, and he's like, "Fine, I'll debate you. Come here and debate me."
Oh.
That's the terms. Because you're the one that wants to debate him. He's not saying I want to debate Alex.
So why is it so bad if we do a neutral platform?
Again, you can't set the terms. He said, "Hey, if you want to debate me, here are the terms. Debate me here. I'm not going to be flying out anywhere. I'm going to sit right here. I'm going to go to the studio that I pay for, that I'm comfortable with."
Sure. Wait, what you're saying is not true. Like, if I'm like looking to borrow money, I can come to you. I say, Glenn, I need to borrow money, and you're like, okay, you have to do 20%. I was like, whoa, that's too much. You're like, whoa, bro, you can't set the terms just because you're the one that asked for the loan. You absolutely can. That's how negotiations work. We both have.
Again, it goes back to what gain? What gain is the?
Don't interrupt me. You can. I already dealt with like an hour of that shit. So
I'm not trying to interrupt you. I'm asking you, what is the game?
You keep talking. Well, we have basically a similar audience. I have more views than him. So the goal could be that, one, he's not a hypocrite because he actually does what he says in his book, and number two, he can convert a big part of my audience if he destroys me in that debate. Like, if he wants to debate, he can take a chunk of my audience. So what I'm like willing to go above and beyond. I'm just saying, I'll go to your studio first if you then come to mine. Why are you against that?
What I'm saying, at least what Sergio's doing, he's like, fuck it, I don't care. I'll just go to your studio. I'll debate you on your playing field. Fine, because I'm that confident in what I'm saying and what my position is. I don't care about anything else other than playing my card, playing my debate, and I don't need him to negotiate all these other stuff. Sergio's
not other stuff. Why are you so against the idea of him then?
Because I'm asking you, like, what's the difference between Sergio debating him in Vegas? I think
Sergio's making a mistake. I think what's going to happen, unless he negotiates.
Okay, why is he making a mistake?
Rollo is going to hide behind Sartain, just like he did with this recent debate, and Sergio is going to be a 2 against 1, and that he's not going to be able to give him a chance to thoroughly debate Rollo. That's what I think is going to happen. That's why I think it's important to make sure the preconditions before competition are fair. Right? That's kind of how any type of competition or any type of competitive environment works. Again, I'm willing to skew them in his favor. I'm saying I will do your shit first, but then you have to do my shit. What is so bad about that? Why is that such a? Why are you so against?
I'm not saying it's not bad. I'm not. Okay. But I'm just saying if he's. But what I'm saying is he already set his terms.
Okay, and
he opened the door for the opportunity.
And I'm stating my term. I don't.
Okay, but you're the one that's looking for the debate. He's not looking to debate you. He's not going around saying, "Hey, Alex, where you at? Come here, Alex. Come around. Let's debate me, Alex. Why don't you debate me, Alex?"
Which is why
him. That's you.
which is why I'm willing to go a bit further. But I'm not going to accept a bullshit deal. If I suspect the dude of being up to some shady shit, I'm not going to accept that. Right. So again, that's why my suggestion, which was more than fair.
On what premise are you accusing him of the shady shit, though?
Don't interrupt. So, okay, so this is why initially what I suggested was neutral studio. I will fly you out. Clearly, I'm doing more in that exchange. If he doesn't want to accept that, my second counter offer is I will go to your studio first, but then you have to come to my studio. That is a very reasonable proposal, right? Again, I'm negotiating a lot here, right? I'm agreeing to a lot of shit, right? But if he's not going to even do that, that is just going to suggest to me that he's a bad faith actor, that he has no intention of actually following up with this, and he's using this as just a random excuse to basically agree to debate me without actually having to debate me. So I think that me going to his studio first and going to mine is more than fair. I think any reasonable person would agree to that, or neutral studio. If he doesn't want to agree to that, then so be it.
That's assuming. Aren't you assuming?
What do you mean assuming?
You're saying if he doesn't agree to that, then you're assuming that he's a bad faith actor. No, he's simply saying, hey, how about you debate? You want to debate me? You're the one that's been running around looking to debate me.
And I'm saying I don't agree to that condition of us just doing it in your studio.
Okay, then you don't want to debate him enough. Sergio does, though.
I'm not. Okay, Sergio wants to debate more. I'm not. Yes, there's certain preconditions I have. It's not my biggest goal in life. Isn't just to debate Rollo. Sure, I think it would be a really interesting debate. Sure, I want to make it happen. Sure, I'll go above and beyond to make it happen. Mainly because I think it would be really, really good content. But I'm not going to sacrifice everything. Okay, there's limits to what I'm willing to.
What are you sacrificing, though? That's what I'm asking you. What is the sacrifice?
Well, the sacrificing
everything. What is the sacrifice?
Yeah, I have limits, like with things that I'm willing to agree on and not agree on. And my whatever, my boundary or whatever the fuck you want to call it, is that if we do it on your channel, then we're going to have to do it on my channel afterwards. It's a reasonable condition. You're muted. Can't hear you.
I think it would be a good faith if you just went out there, debated him. If there needs to be a round 2, then there needs to be a round 2.
Why are you sipping for Rolo so hard? You literally
I'm not sipping. I'm just saying, like, you've been looking for this debate.
Why are you so
adamant? Are you going to let me finish this?
No,
let me
I'm
finish
not.
Why are you so
adamant? Why are you so
because I'm so adamant because you said you've been wanting to debate him. Cool. Now he's opened the door for debates. And he said, look, if you guys want to debate me, come to the studio. We'll debate here. We'll stream it on both your channels. Everybody's happy. Cool. But you're like, no, I want more. It's like,
no, I want a neutral platform. Do you think it's crazy to want a neutral platform?
I think it's not crazy for either one. I think it's
fine. What do you think? Let me ask you this, Glenn. Okay, if, for example, if Rolo wanted to, if I invited Rolo to come on my platform to do the debate, and he said no, would you criticize him for saying no?
If Rolo was saying he wanted to debate you and you offered the debate on your platform and he said no, I would be criticizing him too. I'd be saying the same thing. Like, you've been wanting this debate. He's given you the opportunity to debate you. And then now you don't like the fact because he's doing it over there. No.
Don't you think that, like, debate should be fair? Like, do you think that, for example, if I need to borrow $10,000, I should agree to 100% interest rate just because I want to borrow money? You don't think it's okay for me to have some preconditions that are reasonable?
You can have the conditions, but that doesn't mean that the person has to let you borrow the money.
Well, I'm not saying he has to debate me.
He said he's willing to, but he says, I'm not going to do it under your terms.
He's willing to do it only in his studio. He's not willing to do it in any neutral platform. That makes me very sus, because I think most people who have good intentions will be willing to do a neutral platform. I'm even saying he can pick the neutral platform in question. And my final, my second counter offer is, okay, I'll do it in your studio. You just have to publicly agree to do it in my studio. That is a very reasonable condition. I don't know how many times I can explain that to you, but it seems like you just want me to do whatever Rolo wants. I'm not going to agree to that. He has to agree to the very least do it in my studio. Again, I'm willing to go in his studio first. It's more than fair.
Hey, I just think that, like, if you wanted to do it, you do it. The door's open. Anybody wants to debate him, the door's open. I think they should just take the opportunity and do it. And if there's any sus or any questionable things, then you could point that out. Be like, oh, there it is. Here's the sus. Here's the questionable things. If he's really true, then he'll come to my studio. That's a good reason. I think
it's sus that there's a man who's insisting that this debate can happen only in his studio. He's not willing to agree to a neutral studio. I think that in of itself is very sus.
Only happen in the studio. He said he will only do it in the studio.
Right. He will only do
his studio. It's not even his studio. It's the.
He will only do the debate. You know what he's talking. He will only do the debate in the studio where he has ownership. Even though he has shown with Destiny that he's willing to debate people in other studios. So to me, it seems really, really sus when I see a man who's willing to debate people on other platforms, but then with me saying I will only debate you on my platform. But even despite all that, I was still willing to do that as long as he agrees to do it in my studio. So then if there is some shady shit, I get a chance to basically bring it up and redeem myself, so to speak.
Oh, what? By how? By doing shady shit to redeem yourself? Like, I mean,
no.
That's what you're implying. Because he has no control over if it's in your studio, right?
So your argument is that Rolo should not do it in my studio. Rolo has to agree. I have to agree to everything Rolo wants. I'm saying no. I'm not.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying if you want to debate him, he opened the door to debate anybody, as long as they debate him in Vegas.
Look, okay. I want to fuck Pamela Anderson, but I'm not willing to walk around naked,
really? Still?
crawl like a dog. You see the point I'm trying to make? I want to fuck.
No, I don't. She's old.
I want to fuck. Okay, stop. I want to fuck Lana Rhodes. But if the condition for me fucking Lana Rhodes is putting on like a fucking thong and walking around Main Street and saying, dude, crazy shit, or like fucking picking up her laundry, then I'm not going to do it. So you can want something, but you can still have reasonable preconditions. The question is, are my preconditions reasonable? I think the vast majority of people will say, yes, they are very reasonable.
No, that's your opinion on what vast majority of people would say.
So do you think it's not reasonable to want to do a neutral platform? You think that's unreasonable?
I don't think that you have the same accolades that he has to demand.
What are his accolades?
Okay, let's see. 5 books. How many years in this field, helping guys out? All the guys.
I've been in the field for a fraction of time. I already have more views.
Again.
I'm not sure Rolo's helping anyone out with this stuff.
I don't think Rolo's helping anybody.
He's actually helped a lot of people out if you guys actually would pay attention.
No,
as someone who's read a good amount of Rolo's stuff, a lot of it is pretty much just a mirror image of what the bra burners say about guys. Like it's the same kind of rhetoric from a different direction, like almost the exact same actually. Like to the
I may
point
disagree,
where
but that's fine.
it's in the dialogue.
Wait, I actually have a question for you, Glenn. How do you feel about Rolo making false allegations against me and Abba and Preach? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know which false allegations you're referring to.
I'll refresh you. So he made the allegation that I work for Anthony Johnson, being paid by Anthony Johnson to make videos about him. He made that same claim about Abba and Preach. So how do you feel about him making those false allegations?
I don't necessarily think they're false allegations. I think they're maybe his opinion.
So do you think
maybe he may not have any evidence to substantiate it, but that could be an opinion.
So if my opinion is that you're a rapist and that turns out to be false, I'm not making a false allegation?
Well, if you're making an opinion that I'm a rapist and I have evidence to refute that, then I can say I'm disproving your allegation.
No, Glenn, if
you're making the claim that I know that Glenn is a rapist, right? That's a false allegation.
He literally said that. I know Alex is being paid by this dude. I know Abba and Preach are being paid for this dude. That's literally what he said.
Now I got to go back and listen to the videos, but I don't think I've ever heard him say that.
Well, he did. You can go back and watch it. But
well, again,
he did say that.
If it's an opinion, it's an opinion.
No, he said
the difference between a false allegation and an opinion.
Okay, why don't I just play this clip in question? Let's just play this. Abba and Preach, Rolo Tomasi. Okay.
Now the Abba and Preach one is a little different because he said that Abba and Preach said that they got that information from John Anthony or Anthony Johnson or whatever.
Yeah, that's a big difference between getting
that's a difference between the thing he said about you and the thing about what he said about them.
No, they're actually very similar. They're both false allegations saying that we're being paid by someone else. So let me just play you the video and you can kind of see for yourself.
No room. He's defending him. Go talk to Donovan. That's on him. Did he do it? Well, yeah, clearly he's talked to it. He's talked about it. He's right. He took the hit. Ways that are that leave no room for error.
It turns out that it turns out that even rational males or red pill dweebs, right? They turn into making up false allegations about people, right? When they don't like them. They just make it up. Look at this. He said we get paid for it.
Funny how they talk about bitches.
He's right. He took the hit for it way back when Anthony came at him back in 2020 with people that I know. And again, I'm not defending Donovan. That's his house. He can go do you want it? He's defending him. Go talk to Donovan. That's on him. Did he do it? Well, yeah, clearly he's talked to it. He's talked about it. He's right. He took the hit for it way back when Anthony came at him back in 2020. That Abba and Preach clearly didn't know anything about because they wouldn't have come up with this lame contrived video. And they even admit in the video that they got the information from Anthony. Could it be because he's paying you to do these attack piece videos? I can't wait for the one on me. Shills Anthony Johnson, but you're happy to take that fucking money and run with it. It's a paid, it's product placement.
So there we go. False allegation.
Isn't that a question? Could it be that they?
Oh my God!
Isn't that a question? Could it be? Is that not a question?
He said, "You are shills for Anthony Johnson."
He said, "Could it be you guys are making this?"
You took the money.
Could it be? Did he start it off with "Could it be"? Isn't that a question?
This level of sympathy.
I'm just asking you. Isn't that not a question? Yes or no? Isn't that
It's a question. Is it not true that Glenn Lawrence is a rapist, right? Like questions have implications, right? You can see how you can ask a question.
No, but Glenn Lawrence was accused of that and beat the case. I already discussed all that.
Don't talk about it.
Is it not the case that Andrew Tate might be a sex trafficker? Is it not the case? Just asking the question.
That might be the case. We don't know. We'll wait till the rest of the facts, till the rest of the facts come out. That's what I've been saying.
He took the money.
I like Andrew Tate.
He took the money. How do you defend that? They took the money.
Again, if it was, he posed it as a question.
Oh my God!
If he did do this, could it be that this could be the fact? Could it be that this could be a thing? That's a question. He's not saying that they did anything. He's
You
saying
do realize
it could
that
be.
these kind of arguments would never hold up in court, for example. Just because you're like creating some plausible deniability by like veiling your accusations and questions doesn't mean that you're not making accusations, right? Like that. This isn't how reality works. You can't just be like, I'm gonna make a claim. This is like some dumb fuck did this to me, where he's claiming that I was doing like federal level fraud, but he just posed it as a question, and it's like, that's not gonna work. I'm sorry, like that would never hold up in a court of law. You're muted. Sorry.
Could it be that those guys were doing this? Was that a
He
thing?
said
Could it be?
they took the money. They took the money.
No, it's more of a question. Could it be that this is the case and they took the money?
Do you see the insane mental gymnastics you're doing right now?
I'm not doing any mental gymnastics. I'm asking a simple question. Could it be they got the money or he got the information from them and they took the money? Could it be? That is posing the entire thought as a question.
So you don't think there's a little bit of an implication there?
He could be implying it, but it's still a question. He's not saying, I know for a fact that they took the money and because if that was the case, he would have produced the evidence to support that.
But Glenn,
I can't wait for the one on me. Like, isn't he like clearly implying?
He's implying that, you know what? He's implying that, you know, after this hit on Donovan, they're probably going to be a hit on him because in the past, that's what he has seen has happened.
But Glenn, hold on though. But like Abba and Preach have like a huge channel. Like the last thing that they need reasonably is to take like 10,000 or 20,000 from some other content creator to make a hit piece on other content creators.
Do it though, right?
But like that's like it's not reasonable to make that claim. Like if
you're looking for money, if somebody's gonna give you money to do this, you're saying
no,
that wasn't my reason to do it.
No, I'm like
that this is a plant. Is it not possible that this is a plant?
That could be a fake plant.
Could be. Could it not be a fake?
Glenn, look, I'm a Rolo fan generally, but I think those claims, I think he needs to stay away from those kind of claims because it's just baseless. And I think he's just like kind of mad that he had
I found another good one.
And you know he's just making those kind of.
Okay, this one leaves no room for ambiguity. Okay, this is hilarious. Rolo posted in the community a few days on show from Dennis Johnson. Okay, so this is directly from Rolo. He said, Alex is a shrill for Anthony Dream Johnson. Okay, not a question. So how are you going to defend that? Yeah.
You're muted.
He's hyperbolic.
That's his personal opinion.
Oh my God. So if my personal opinion is that you're a rapist. So if my personal opinion is that you're a rapist, that doesn't make it a false allegation, right?
Well, I'll be like, well, prove, where's your facts?
But would that be a false allegation? So if Kyla was to make the claim, if Kyla was to make the claim that you raped her, right? Raped her, would that be a false allegation? Yes or no?
Yeah, because there's no facts to support that.
Okay. Well, there's no facts for this one, so therefore it was a false allegation because it never happened.
How would you feel about me going around publicly saying, "Is it not possible that Glenn Lawrence raped me?"
You know what? The last girl that did that, she lost too. The last girl that did that lost too. So I've already been through. I've already been through that. I've already been through that. I've already been through that. That's not a battle that anybody wants to go through because I walk in. I wouldn't feel anything because it's something I've already been through.
Okay, well, I'm sorry that you've been through that. That's fucking awful. How would you feel if I run around still saying, "Is Glenn?"
You would still have to have the burden of proof to prove this. You have to prove
it.
Again,
okay, you just said,
just like I think if Rolo's making the claim, if he's saying that you're a shrill for Anthony Johnson, then good. The burden of proof is for him to prove it. But still, if he's saying that's my opinion is this person is this.
Okay, you just acknowledged that if Tyler was to go around and say that what's it called, Glenn raped me, that would be a false allegation. How is this any different? He's saying
again, one is criminal because one is doing a criminal charge. Okay, that's a criminal act that she's saying that I'm doing. Because now I could face time in prison.
The false allegation.
No. Listen.
I'm just asking a question.
No. If she went around saying that I raped her, then that's a criminal. If that's a criminal charge, that my freedom could be in jeopardy. Somebody just saying, I think this person, or you're
okay. Let me give you a different analogy. Okay, Glenn.
Because you're doing one is criminal, and one is not.
I'm gonna give you a different analogy. If Kyla was like, "Yeah, I hooked up with the Glenn. He has the tiniest penis ever. He has a micro penis." That's not criminal. Would that be a false allegation if she was to say that?
No,
That
I
would
mean
be
more
subjective.
like,
That would be more kind of
he has a
subjective, right? Because then that
micropenis.
depends on what she
I'm
determines
not
as a big
saying
dick
Glenn
or small
Lawrence
dick.
has a
He has.
micropenis.
I think you
Okay.
have a 1-inch cock. She's saying that.
Okay,
to
then that's
everyone.
still, again, isn't that her
Is it
opinion?
not possible that Glenn
I'm
Lawrence
with
has
Glenn
a
there. That's
micropenis?
just her opinion.
That's not a false allegation. He has a, wait,
I
she
mean,
says-
again, that's subjective.
He
Right?
has-
She determines as a
no, she doesn't say 1 inch. She says he has a 1-inch penis. 1 inch. That's a specific number.
The whole point is that
Again, that's still her opinion of it, right?
Her opinion. Yeah.
Okay, so everything in life is just an opinion.
In order for something to be slander, it has to be published.
Right. Let's say she starts publicly saying that on her platform. Oh, Glenn has a 1-inch dick. Haha, 1-inch dick Glenn. You know, like that would not be a false allegation, really?
That's
Like
a dumb opinion.
You don't think that would be an allegation? Really?
No.
Not at all.
What's about the
It
question?
can only be slander or libel if it was published by like an actual publisher.
Everyone needs to stop with the autism.
That's not true at all.
Let's just touch
And
grass
sold.
for like 2
That's
seconds.
propaganda or something like
It's
that.
pretty clear that if I said things like, "Isn't it possible that Glenn Lawrence has a micropenis? Isn't it possible that Glenn
Sure,
Lawrence
it could be
raped
possible.
me?"
It could also be possible I got a big long dick
I
too.
already
So which
said-
one is
I
it?
already said stop with the autism. Okay, everyone knows the reason why that's a problem. It's a problem to say these things because you're clearly implying something. You're begging the question, and nobody would have had those thoughts in their mind originally if you weren't posing the question. You're not just asking random. It's not like Rollo's just querying into the world, doing basic open science and asking the world all the questions that might need to be asked. He's asking intentional questions that set up a narrative that serves him to imply something about Alex and App and Preach. Obviously.
Again, he posed the question because of past issues.
He didn't pose the question with me. He made a statement.
Well, with you, I think it was different. Again, I already said with you, there's a burden of proof there. I already said that.
Why can't you just acknowledge that he made a false allegation about me?
It's not a false allegation if he thinks that you did it. That's his opinion.
Wait, if my opinion is that you're a rapist, that doesn't make it a false allegation? If my opinion is that you're a liar,
again, you can't. You're using a criminal charge or criminal claim. Somebody's saying that you're a shrill for Anthony Johnson.
Alex, it would just be an allegation. It would just be an allegation, and then he would have to prove false or otherwise. But it would just be an allegation.
Okay, so but the allegation, right? But the allegation is false, so therefore it's a false allegation. There's not a shred of evidence for that. There's zero evidence.
One is criminal. Again,
we're not talking about prosecuting somebody. We're just talking
no, you don't understand. A false allegation like what you're making could get somebody prosecuted if you're saying stuff like that. All it takes is a false allegation without evidence to get somebody charged for something.
Okay, how about this, Glenn? What if I make an allegation that Rollo's paying you $10,000 to defend him, right? If I say
that was very rare.
Me. What?
Somebody say that's very rare to get.
Wait, no, I don't want to go off track. Wait, Grillian. So what if I say Rollo is paying you $10,000 to defend him? How would you feel about that? Would that not be a false allegation?
I'll be like, prove it, bro.
Right, but would that be? Let's say I can't prove it. Would that be a false allegation then?
That's your opinion. It's your opinion.
I'm saying
it's a false opinion.
I know Glenn is being
now when you're saying that, I know, that means you're saying you know for a fact, you know beyond reasonable doubt that I'm doing that's the case. Then that's a false allegation.
Okay, so you need to say the word "I know" for it to be an allegation.
Yeah, your words do matter. Words do matter. And the way
just saying, hey guys, Glenn is being paid by Rollo to come and defend him and sim for him. That would not be enough. I have to say I know Glenn is being paid, right?
Yeah, because you're one is suggesting, the other one is affirming that you know for a fact that this is what's going on.
Okay, so as long as you don't say I know before something, that's just an opinion, right? So there's no burden of proof. So I can say Rollo Rollo's wife is divorcing him. Bro, like there's no evidence of that. Yeah, but I didn't say I know. It was just an opinion. You know, you wouldn't be critical of me doing that. I know that Rollo has problems in his marriage. I know Rollo hasn't been late in 10 years.
Again, I know statements means that you have
but
to support your claim.
If I don't say I know, I just say Rollo's wife hasn't fucked him in 10 years. Rollo's wife cheated on him. Rollo's wife is planning on divorcing him. All non-criminal things. You wouldn't be against me saying stuff like that just because it's my opinion, because I didn't say I know.
I don't really care if that's what you were saying, because that's just your opinion. if I wanted to, if Rollo wanted to refute that, if he wanted to refute that, then he could. But
you'd have no problem with me making statements like Rollo's wife is planning on divorcing him and she's cheating on him. You'd have no problem with me saying that, right? That would be okay.
I don't have a problem with you saying that because if it's not true, it's not true. If Rollo has a problem with you saying that,
so we can just say whatever we want about people. So basically, we can say whatever we want about people as long as we don't say I know.
Isn't that what everybody already does on here? Because there's a lot of people make a whole lot of claims about people and say I know. The problem with I know statements means that people saying they know that they have the evidence, they have the facts to prove their claim.
Okay, well, I don't do that. I don't know how you operate. I don't do that. Let me move on to the next question. Is there anything you disagree with Rollo on?
Yeah.
Like what?
I disagree with. I kind of fall into like what I think it's between the mate switching and the alpha cucks beta bucks thing. I think it's a little bit in between the two. I don't think it's one or the other. I think that could be either or, maybe or a blend of the two when it comes to that issue earlier. And that's what I mentioned earlier in your chat about the kids. I think Erudite mentioned it was either alpha or the mate switching or the dual mating strategy. I think it could be in between the two. I don't think there's enough evidence to prove either one of them are absolute. I think they could be one or the other or a blend of the two.
That seems
like can you give quick definitions of these for audience members that don't know?
Okay, so alpha bucks, beta bucks, right? The guy, she gets with the guy, she hooks up with the alpha to get the seed, but then marries the beta to take care of the provisioning side, right? Well, there is some proof of that, right? And then the mate switching is just getting with the guy, then deciding she's moving on somewhere in the middle of the relationship. Whatever the case is.
More like serial monogamy. But like literally just standard shit where like you get into one relationship, you stay in there for a while, then it ends.
And you hop onto another one. Yeah. Yeah. I think it could be a little bit of both, because if that wasn't the case, then there wouldn't be the issue of paternity fraud like we see it. Okay.
We don't see it.
We do see it.
No,
actually, we do. Actually, statistics have shown through 23andMe, through but yes. If paternity fraud, you're saying paternity fraud is not an issue? Are you saying paternity fraud is not an issue?
Yeah, it's not an issue. The study that was doing on it was bogus. It was actually false.
Really? So then 1/3 of the guys that actually get the paternity fraud tested and find out that they're not the father of the child, that they are alleged to be the father of the child, that's not case. That's not true.
Yeah,
so Neo study with Neo when he got hit with having to pay child support for a kid that he found out was not his biologically, under the fact that he was led to believe that child was his biologically. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. No. It's not an anecdotal. That's not even mine. That's one person.
About 1%. 1%.
So either it happens or it doesn't happen. You just said it's not true. So which one is it? Does it happen? It's not happen, or is it true?
So you realize that 1% doesn't mean that it's happening at this robust level, like a paternity fraud crisis.
Does it mean that does it happen? Yes or no?
I'm sure it happens sometimes.
Okay, so like the bottom line is dual mating strategy does happen. It does happen. It might be 1%, but it does happen. And mate switching definitely happens a lot because a lot of women are in abusive relationships. A lot of women.
No.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. But the bottom line is there is such thing as the dual mating happening.
Theory renounce dual mating. If it basically what they said is
that's because there was profit in Dr. David Buss doing that. He was trying to make money off of
I know the lab. You're making shit up. That's not
he was trying to sell a dating service, so it was gonna be more profitable to say that something like that.
Wait, Sergio, how many hands do human beings have?
2.
But aren't there some people that are born with one hand?
Yeah,
or fewer fingers or something like that.
Do you see how exceptions don't make the rule?
That's why I was saying dual mating strategy it happens. I'm just saying it happens. Even if it's 1%, I'm just saying it does happen. People do need to acknowledge that it happens. That's it.
No,
that's all we're saying.
Hold on. You're calling it a strategy. A mating strategy. To say sometimes women cheat and falsify who the father is not the same thing as an evolutionary mating strategy. These are different claims, and you are claiming that it's a mating strategy. And if you don't understand how essential mating strategy means
I'm just
in
quoting
animals,
it. I'm just quoting it as what it's called. I'm not
Then
going to
you
sit
don't
here and say
understand
that I
it.
think it's an
Then you don't
actually
understand
strategy. That okay, well,
Then
I
you
don't
don't
think it's an
understand
actual
it. Then
strategy.
you don't
I'm just
know
saying
the
it
words that you're
happens.
saying.
I'm just
It
saying it
doesn't.
actually happens. It
Yes,
happens.
men sometimes get cucked at about a 1% rate,
Yes.
and it's fucking awful, by the way.
Okay, so
Anytime that
shouldn't
We
that
agree with that.
1% weight, even
that
if it's
doesn't mean you're mating.
even
No,
as small as
no,
it is,
no.
should that not be something that we actually take into consideration? That should not be something that we have a screening for. Should that not be put into awareness?
Shouldn't every child be
It's
tested
something
at birth
that
for just in
1%.
case?
The
It's
cost for
something
that
that's
would
targeted
not
at 1%
really
death.
be
It's
effective
insane.
for
The amount of
whatever
money you would
policies
have to
call
spend
for
to
it.
genetically test when 99% of babies are going to be with the proper like biological parents, that would be fucking stupid, right? You realize you guys are like kind of like starting to
99%. So
Yeah,
the
and
guys,
I just
so that
looked it
1%
up.
of guys should be just be like, screw you
Yeah,
guys.
just
You're
screw
the
those
1%.
1% of guys.
And
No
guys,
one, no
I
one's
just
saying
looked it
that.
up.
I think
That's what she's saying though. Like,
no,
it's
I
not a big deal.
think she's saying
Okay,
it's an
here.
issue of calling something a rule that only happens 1% of the time, which I would agree with.
And we're not going to shift society around for a 1% event, right? That's ridiculous.
What are you talking about?
I mean, we can have the same argument
and everybody
or
else.
against.
We can have the same argument about abortion and 1% chance of somebody being great and then having to get an abortion. It's the same
we
thing.
can't make the same argument for abortion at all because in the case of paternal fraud, it is literally happening at a 1% chance. At the chance of aborted babies secretly having a genius within them, we don't have a percentage because it's based on a potential thing. So they're literally non-analogous in all ways. You're just saying words.
Yeah, and as a quick side note,
not
I
even
just
what I was
looked this,
saying.
guys. Hold
Not
on, I
even
want
what I
to
was
say
So
this.
the guy that
As a
finds
quick,
out that he's not the father, you're saying, well, fuck you, dude. Oh well, you're the 1%. Get over it.
No
Move
one
on.
is saying that.
No, that's what you're saying. That we shouldn't take it into consideration or bring that to awareness that this is an issue.
It's not an issue, right? A 1 percentile thing isn't an issue. It doesn't mean it's not an issue for the people that it happens to, but no, we don't need societal reform for something that happens 1% of the time universally. No.
Yes, there should be reform and change. Everybody should have to get a paternity test. I think is the easiest way to make it done.
Do you realize
Easiest way is a shot.
Uh-uh.
It's a little bit of blood.
Government shouldn't be involved in any of that.
I don't think you should have to.
involved in any of that.
I don't think
you know why
but
they
you should have
don't.
the
You know
freedom
why
to.
they don't, guys.
No.
The reason why they don't is because they can actually be sued. Like they
You
don't
need
in a
less
lot of states.
government
They don't even
control,
want.
not
They
more.
don't even want it to happen. Like they don't want the man to know at all because the hospital can actually be sued for it. There's a lot of laws and things in the background that keep it to where they don't want guys to find out this type of shit. It's really messed up, and we don't know the actual truth. We can sit here and say it's 1% all day long, but we don't know the actual truth.
No, we don't. We don't know the truth.
We actually do. So there's studies
We
that have looked
don't.
into that.
It could be 2%,
I haven't
and
done
even then,
I haven't done my research
Stop.
on
You
that,
gotta let me
so I
get
don't
a
have
word
anything to say about
It's
that.
not 2%.
I'm just against
1%.
lots of
There's an
regulations.
easy way
Just
to
let her
test-
finish.
There's an easy way to test for this, which has nothing to do with hospitals so that you can skip liability. It's where you take the DNA of families and crane biology and you test about how often it is the case that the claimed father is not biologically related to the child. These studies have been done by third parties, and the results is it's about 1% universally. In a couple of countries, it goes up
So
to
are
like
you
4%.
also going to
That's
say
about
the
it.
same? Are you gonna? Do you agree that the same results then, like that false allegations of rape and domestic violence is only 2%? Because that's the same thing. Even that has been disproven. So again,
Has it?
Wait,
a lot
can
of
you
these
say
things
that
that you're
again?
saying have already been disproven by
Where
other
have they been
scientists.
How many
right now?
babies are born?
Please,
How many
please,
babies are born?
Please, can I go back to what Glenn said? You
Yeah,
listed
go
a
ahead.
bunch of stats, and I didn't hear you. Can you just say it again, Glenn?
I said the stats are that they've been pushing out there that only 2% of false allegations of rape are the ones that happen. It's only 2% of the time that false allegations, but that's been disproven. In the UK, it's up to 70%. In the United States, it's about 50%.
Where's that statistic coming from? I looked into statistics on that.
Have you looked up Dr. Eric Nelson? Okay, or look up what's his name from the.
Well, no. Can you quote me a study or an article?
Actually, I can pull up the article. Hold on.
Okay.
Let me find it here. I'm just saying, even because what we're saying is we're going to state these things off of.
So I'm going off the FBI statistics. That's what I'm going.
Even
off.
then, what you're misreading on the FBI statistics is that they say 2 to 8%. That's the ones that the police get, and there's no evidence to support it. So they
Glenn,
dismissed
can I steel man you? Because I would maybe agree with you. So one of the problems with false allegation research specifically is how we're going to define them. Most studies on false allegations look at criminal false allegations, which are actually extremely uncommon. The issue is we don't have a good way to operationally define things like a social false allegation. So that's not where she goes to the police, but she tells her friends and family, or she goes on social media and makes certain claims. So I would be willing to grant with you that we don't maybe know the prevalence rate. The issue is that the problem with false allegation prevalence studies doesn't mean that we have the same problem with cucked child syndrome. Like, what do you call it? Paternity test.
It does support the fact that, you know what, we have to question who is doing these studies.
Sure.
And we have
I would encourage you to always question methodology. The issue is, Glenn, do you actually think that you're informed enough on scientific literacy to be the one spearheading questioning studies? Like, do you understand the process of science enough to actually be the one asking the questions? Because I'm going to guess that, for example, you didn't understand the issue with the false allegation studies and why it doesn't work super well. Did you know what I just said to you?
Yeah, I do know. And I also do know that the false allegation studies are incorrect.
Hold on. What did you know? What do you know that's wrong about the false allegation studies? What's the issue with them?
The issue with them is, for one, who is doing the studies?
That's not the issue.
It is. That is the issue.
No.
If I have a whole bunch of feminists are doing the studies,
I'm going to give you.
They're going to go with what they want.
Okay, so the actual issue with the false allegation studies is what we call operational definition. The operational definition of false allegation is probably too narrow for the actual social effects of false allegation, because most of the false allegations aren't going to the police, because that's super spooky to flat out lie as a woman to the police, because you could get charged with perjury. Instead,
how often does that happen? How often does that happen?
Let her finish.
That's my point, Glenn. I'm agreeing with you. I'm outlining to you the actual issue with false allegation research, which is that it doesn't take into account social media false allegations, which means the prevalence rate of 2% might be higher because we're not including a number of false allegations.
Well, I also have a question for Glenn. It's a two-part question. Glenn, who do you think should pay for these paternity tests? Like the government or who?
Sorry, I'm trying to pull up the study. The parents, I believe the parents should pay for a paternity test. If the dad is going to want the paternity test, if he's just not going to believe it right out the gate, then yeah, I think the parents should.
It should be an option.
That is already an option.
It's only an option by the mother allowing it. The mother has to allow it.
The mother has to allow it in majority of the states.
Who's paying for it?
They should. It's only $100 or less. I think a couple should pay for it.
But
the law should not be set up to where the man. And here, hold on. 1% though. How many children are born a year though? How many children are born a year though? 1% of the children born a year. That's still a very high number of guys getting screwed over.
So
right, but
nobody cares about those 1% of guys? That's stupid. That's so stupid.
Society.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard somebody say.
Okay, I'm sorry to tell you that I don't care how you feel.
No, but erudite on some things we should. On some things we
ignorant
should.
as fuck that you just said that. That guy should for 18 years take care of a.
Alex, let me share the screen, Alex.
You're ignorant as hell that you just said that. I really like a lot of stuff about you, but what you just said was stupid as hell.
You can virtue signal all you would like. The reality is this: we do not make societal policy changes for events that are occurring at a 1% rate that are going to be a massive burden of cost on the parents. That's ridiculous. You're basically asking for a massive extension of state funding and the welfare state for something that occurs 1% of the time. That's bad policy. You realize that we could decrease, for example, murder rates by probably more than 1%, but it would require draconian state intervention. We always have to be balancing the difference in society between things that decrease people's harms and things that allow people to have freedom. For example, charging couples state mandated to get a paternity test is insane.
I didn't even say that. I said that it should not be in the laws that a woman has to decide if it's okay or not. It should be right there from the start. If the guy wants it, he gets it. That's it.
I agree with that. I agree with that. And guys, I want to point this out.
I don't have an issue with that. I just thought you were saying that it should be mandated, which means that like you have to do it. So you're saying it does not need to be mandated.
The guy should be able to if he wants to.
Alex, I want to point this out.
Do you unironically think any person here is opposed to people getting paternal testing? Do you think that I would be opposed to men getting babies tested?
What I heard was it has to be mandated, which means the government forces you to do it.
Literally said mandated. That's why
I said it.
Yes.
I think it should be.
There we go.
That's just my opinion, though. That's my opinion.
Okay. Well, all right, Glenn.
My personal opinion.
Totally cool.
All right, so this is interesting. So you're saying that the government. So what about the people who don't have the money to pay for it? The government should subsidize it then.
Again,
Along with everything else that's subsidized.
I mean, I think if you don't have the money to pay for it, they probably shouldn't have the money. They shouldn't have the kids anyway.
After that, Glenn, you
Yeah, I
have
want
higher
Glenn
taxes
to answer the question.
and more guys be paying those taxes.
Right?
Wait, I want to get a clear answer to the question. So you're saying that, okay, the government should mandate it, right? I believe Sergio's not saying that. So there's a lot of people who are not going to have the money to pay for it. So what should happen? Should the government come in and pay for it, right? Because that's the only logical solution. If you have to do it,
it
people
should be
don't have.
subsidized, especially if it's going to come to when there's child custody or child support.
Okay, so the government should pick up the tab, right?
If there's gonna be a question for child support or child custody, then yes.
What about before that? What about when the baby is born and everything is going well?
Again, I think if they want to, if there's a petition for child support and the father does not have it, and they're married,
this is before child support. They just had a baby. I'm assuming most couples aren't.
Are they married or are they not? Are they married or not? I mean, there's a whole.
Yeah, let's just say they're married, right? You're the governor. You pass a new law. You're the president. That paternity tests are mandated, right? They don't have the money. Who is paying for that? That's the government that's paying for it, right? Is that where we're at?
The government should pay for it, and then if it comes out that he is the father, then put the tab on the father. Just to get the testing done.
How many people do we need to hire to be tracking both the paternal tests, the falsified?
I'm ready to show the other evidence that I have. About
wait, we will pull it up in 2 seconds. I just have one follow-up question. Are you in favor of universal health care?
No.
No one should ever be in favor of
the government should pay for paternity tests, but the government should not pay for like grandma who has cancer, right? That's where we're at.
Or
I think what I'm saying is that they pay. The government covers the test, and then they bill the father if he happens to be the father. If it's not the father, then it bills the mother. What's wrong with that?
Okay, let's see.
I actually agree with that.
How bureaucratic.
What's wrong with that? Well,
I actually think that's actually very fair.
That's
why it doesn't work.
Okay.
How does that not work?
But that doesn't make any sense because the father's going to get a bill.
Because the government is going to spend $2,000 trying.
It's not $2,000. That's not the problem.
It's actually very cheap. It's less. It's going to be less than.
Get a lot more than that too.
I've actually done this before. It was less than $100, and I bet if they streamlined it and did it to every person right when the baby's coming out, it'd be way cheaper.
What I'm saying is
that would never be in their interest.
What I'm saying, the test costs $100, but the government's going to spend $2,000 or $5,000 trying to collect that from a deadbeat dad. Okay, it's not that easy to just collect money. So that's the issue: is you're going to spend more money on collecting it than it's
$100 more.
Hold on. It's not just $100, dipshits. You have to hire a brand new team that is government funded that does all of the testing, and you're going to.
No, you don't. They can do it in the hospital. There's many clinics that do it in the hospital.
Someone has to oversee that.
How do you think these genetic tests work? Do you think that you just pour a little bit of magic sauce on it and we find out who the paternal? Yes, you're going to need geneticists and different trained scientists to do the testing. You're going to need bureaucrats to be tracking all of the tests, identifying the test that goes to the parent, and contacting the parents to notify them. So you're going to need to hire a staff of geneticists that are government paid and more bureaucrats. You'd have to open an entire new wing, and it's the only apparently public health care available in the States as well, by the way. The genetic testing sector. I'm sorry. If you're against universal health care, there's
not to mention not to mention taxes would go up even higher and screw that in its entirety.
Well, anytime you mandate something and the government comes in and pays for it, that comes out from somewhere. So that includes this genetic test. But if your whole position is like,
more expensive.
Again,
just so you know.
If your whole position is the government should, if your whole position is that government, this should be mandated and the government should subsidize it.
I'm saying that before they go after child support, my thing is if you're going to go after child support for somebody, you should better make sure that's the kid's father. So before the government can take any money from you, they should be able to prove that you're the father of that child, not just take some woman's word for it. That who put your name on the child's?
Yes, more investigation needs to be done in that regard. I agree with that. Yeah.
So if my way is the extreme way of doing things, then that's fine. I could be wrong, but at the end of the day, the issue of paternity and child support, that is the problem.
Do you think it's a more important issue than people dying of cancer? or
Guys,
diabetes.
do you realize the cost would be $548 million for all the births in the U.S. for paternity
It'd be
tests?
How much are we paying for birth birth?
Probably way more
for
than that.
I'm just asking where you're getting the $548 million from.
How many babies are born a year?
How many babies are killed a year through abortions? Like, I mean, we could
But
take
Glenn,
some
do you think that paternity fraud is a bigger issue than cancer or diabetes?
I'm not saying it's a bigger issue. I'm saying it's an issue that still affects people every day. Cancer is something that we all have. We all have the same cancer genes. You know, whether or not that we ever, we have genes in our body. We have cells in our body. Everybody has cancerous cells in your body.
There's a big difference between having. There's a big difference between having genetic predisposition for cancer and actually having cancer. Okay, I don't have cancer. I don't think Kyla has cancer. I don't think anyone on this channel has cancer. I've had friends who have cancer. It's very, very terrible disease.
I'm not saying you have cancer. I'm saying we have the same cells that could get cancer. That happens.
But there's a difference.
But here's the difference.
We all have the same genes.
Cancer is something that you have no control over, and nobody's putting you through cancer.
There's treatment.
Nobody's forcing you to have cancer. All right, nobody's forcing Alex to have cancer. Nobody's gonna tell you have to pay for this cancer, but somebody's telling you have to pay for this kid that may or may not be yours,
So
and
Glenn,
that is an issue.
everyone is on board with getting it. If somebody's coming after you for child support, okay. Pro tip to the audience, the word to the audience: if somebody's coming after you for child support and you suspect that the child's not yours, you should definitely get a paternity.
But is it true that
But you don't want to sign the birth certificate?
Hold on. Just give me a second, breathe, and include that in the court case with your. Yeah, you should do that. I'm on board for that. I think men should be empowered to get paternity tests if they so choose. That's based. I have no problem with that. I think state mandated where there's no universal health care is fucking stupid.
Yeah, that's the issue I have. I have no problem. I have no problem with that. Yeah, that's probably what I would do if I was in that situation. But that's different.
I think before the court should be able to get any child support, they should force, demand paternity. Before they start collecting child support, they need to demand a paternity test. Whether that's the father,
why would the father just
here's
I think the father should have the freedom to do it, but it sounds like he doesn't because Sergio said he needs the woman's permission.
Yes, in many states that's the case. I think it's in the majority. Only 13 states allow the father to petition for paternity.
And I want to say too. So that means if that's true, that means in those states the man does not have the freedom to do it. And I just looked it up. There's countries like France and Germany where getting a paternity test is illegal.
Yes.
And call me a conspiracy theorist, but why are these feminist societies making it illegal for a man to get a paternity test?
It's all based off of money because you will get sued.
Not to mention the tax rates in those places are like 90%.
Yeah, they have to go through the court.
The hospital gets sued.
They can't just do it.
Like that's why it's a big deal.
But what if the court says no? Like, why do you need the court's permission to
Why
do
would
it?
the court say no?
They can. I don't know. But it's the principle. Like, why can't they just pay to have it done? Why do they need to ask the court?
Because you can't take other people's DNA and send it in for testing against their consent for pretty good reasons. That's why if there's a child support case, you go to the court and ask to violate that person's freedom of their own fucking body autonomy to take a little piece of saliva.
So we're gonna ask the newborn. How's the newborn going to respond?
You're going to want to test.
Well, but it's a little bit unfair. Because
you don't need the woman. You just need the child to see whether or not your DNA matches. You don't need to ask the woman.
Only the woman knows. They came out of her.
Probably,
like the guy is the only one who needs
to ask the woman is because she's typically going to have the custody of the child, and yes, it's very reasonable for the.
If you're saying this woman is, if this child is his kid, doesn't he have the right to say, hey, okay, well then if it's my kid, I want to take some of his blood to test it and make sure.
Well, it's never blood; it's spit.
Okay, whatever then. It's saliva, then that's even less intrusive, right?
I don't actually know if it's true that he can't get it tested. I'm going to guess in contentious situations like where custody has been fully severed and he has no visitation rights, that he would need to request the court so that there's safety and control about him getting access to the DNA. But I have found send me the evidence of people getting sued for getting their children tested.
Well, speaking of evidence, let's pull up the evidence that Glenn pulled up for the previous thing. For the false rape thing. Dr. McDowell, special agent, ladies supervisor, criminal investigator for the Air Force. What is this? This is a screenshot. Where's the original article?
Yeah, is there an actual published article about this?
It's a book. It's called The War on Justice Against Men by Dr. Eric Nelson.
So it's
Okay.
okay.
Do you have like an actual study or something to prove this? Like where's
Yeah, you need an actual like thing.
He has the study in the book.
Well, I want to see the study. Like, what's the study?
It tells you. Well, I don't have the study. I got the study from the book that has all this information in it.
This is just a screenshot.
Yeah, from the book, because I'm not pulling up the book. You want me to pull up the book?
Well, no, I would. In order to be convinced, I would need to see the study.
The
That this is
citation, like _41. What is that? Go find the study. That's a citation. Go find the citation for it.
Again, I'll pull up the book then. Hold on 1 second.
Don't pull up the citations in the book, right? So
That's what I'm saying. I'm going to pull up the book because it has the citations. Copy.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe that. Let me see this again. After I can barely see it. Okay.
Feminist mandate number 3. Feminist mandate. I didn't get a book when I became a feminist. Did I get like a mail order issue? Feminist mandate number 4.
The rational female.
Who's this? That's what I'm saying. There's all
Evidence proves the accuser admitted lying 40 to 50% of the time. When it comes to rape cases, I do not buy that for a second. 40 to 50% of girls who accuse someone of rape are lying. I just do not believe that.
Evidence proved 40% of the time.
Yep.
That's not real. There's not even a citation for that claim.
Okay, I'll pull it up.
No, it literally doesn't have a citation. There's no superscript.
I will pull it up. It does. It says 303. Citation 303.
303 is for the citation above it. It's not for the
There's
citation.
no way that is true.
Yeah, like and show the abstract too. Like
the funny thing is, I talked to a former feminist named Paula Wright.
Did she have
out
the
of the UK? Out of UK.
Can you tell her to send me her old version of the feminist mandate book because I didn't get my copy.
Okay, well maybe you didn't go to the right feminist class.
Is it?
Damn it.
There is no way that claim is true. But okay, let's I actually want to redirect quickly back to this before we wrap up. So I just want to see where you stand on this. Do you think Elon Musk is a high value man, Glenn?
Do I think Elon Musk is a high value man?
Yeah.
Sure. I mean,
Okay,
here's because again, it's so subjective. And I've told this to Sergio.
In your opinion.
In my opinion, this is what a high value man has. Okay, a high value man has influence. A high value man has looks, and he has power. All right, those are the 3 things that I think that a high value man has. Okay, so influence, power, and looks. Okay, and I think that's a decent, general rule that you could go back from all the way from the biblical times all the way into the future. We're going to see that a high value man has a combination of those 3, in my opinion.
Okay, so you think Elon is a high value man?
Yeah.
So you disagree with Rollo on that? Okay. Do you think there's quality women out there?
I do think that every woman could be a quality woman if she wants to be.
So, but are there some
they make?
So I think it depends on who the guy is. Will she be a quality woman to you? That depends on how she sees your value.
Or
if you're considered a high value man to her.
Do you think there are some women out there who are being high quality women?
Again, I think like my woman. I think my woman is a high quality woman to me.
Okay. So there are.
But again, I don't think she could be a high quality woman to everybody, or nor that she would be a high quality woman.
There are quality. So the point is, you're saying you think there are some quality women out there. So you do disagree with.
I think it's just as subjective as a high quality man is the subjective.
Okay, but in Europe, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I just want to clear up some misinformation. There's only one country that I can find that actually prohibits people from getting paternity testing without the court, and that's France. In the United States, for example, paternity testing is fully legal, and the fathers may test their children without the consent or knowledge of the mother. Paternity testing
in what states? Because it's not
all of United States.
No, it's not true. That's not true.
Okay, well, you're going to have to take it up with all of the citations in Wikipedia.
That's probably due to Trump.
Wikipedia, the place that people could actually change things. Okay, that's great.
Okay, I can go to the original citation as well if you'd like.
I want to ask Glenn this: what in your opinion is a high value woman? Like, what do they have? What qualities do they need to possess?
I think a high quality woman is, because I don't like to do body count thing, because why? Because I think it's subjective. I think nobody knows exactly what a woman's body count is, even if she tells you. I think that's guys kind of get hung up on that too much. Like, oh, she's for the streets. Well, you don't really know. I think a high quality woman is a woman that is complimentary to that man. All right. Is a woman that is not combative, but also assertive in her own opinion, but not combative. All right, that she knows how to be feminine. Okay, and she knows how to play the role as a helpmate.
Okay, I don't actually necessarily disagree with you that much, but you do disagree with Rilla because you do think there are quality women out there. So you disagree with those two things. Okay, do you think that Joe Rogan got his shit from, or at least some of his shit from, Rollo Tomasi?
To be honest, I don't really listen to Joe Rogan.
Okay, what about Tim Pool, or Andrew Tate, or Andrew Schultz?
I would say I think Andrew Tate has been influenced by a lot of the Manosphere stuff, and whether or not he was he took it from Rollo Tomasi or from whoever else, I can't say for a fact. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people have been parodying these things.
Okay, what about Andrew Schultz, Joe Rogan, and Tim Pool? Do you think they know who Rollo is?
I really don't pay attention to these guys. Like I think Andrew Schultz is a comedian, right?
Yeah. Do you think he knows who Rollo Tomasi is?
I don't know. I don't even know him, so I can't say that.
Well, what's your opinion? I know you don't know for sure, but what's your opinion?
Again, I don't even listen to them enough to say that I know their opinion.
Okay, let's just move on.
I don't have an opinion for them.
We're not making.
Can I say they could be influenced by them? Sure, they could be influenced.
Odds are like literally close to 0%. Okay, do you think they should have discussions with people who have different ideologies?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you disagree.
I've been trying to have an argument or discussion with Ruslan, for instance, for the longest time.
So you disagree with Roll on that because he says that there's no point in having discussions with people who think differently than you. He criticizes.
Well, there kind of isn't. If they're that convinced of their ideology, then there's no change in it.
Well, yeah, because once you guys like some people that are so set on their ideology that they will not see any other way, then I think there's no point in having that kind of conversation with somebody because no matter what you say, they're going to be completely against you.
Well, don't. But
it's still good for the audience.
Yeah, and I'll admit that like wholeheartedly when we were talking about the mandates for the paternity test thing, I'm like 1,000,000% anarchist. So like that was like no, bro, no.
Wait, one last question for Glenn. Do you think that men have an attraction for, or at least like, do you have an attraction for? Are there some girls you're not willing to sleep with?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so that's another thing you disagree with Roland. So there's about 5 things I just listed.
But I think like but will a guy in like leaving the bar at 3 a.m. or whatever sleep with somebody
you?
that no, me no.
So you are a biological man, right?
Yeah.
So then therefore you have an attraction for. Therefore his claim men don't have an attraction for is false.
I think that the majority of men probably don't have an attraction for it in desperation. I would say in desperation, guys will not act on their attraction for.
Like the bottom guys that don't get sex.
But you won't do that, right?
No. But to say that I haven't done that before, that would be a lie. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not talking about your past. I'm talking about where you're at.
But that's what I'm saying though. Like I'm saying, like I have done that before, regrettably, in my youth. But now, no.
It's been a cold Thursday night before.
It was a really bad Thirsty Thursdays, okay?
Right. Well, just because I used to drink when I was in college doesn't make me a drinker now, right? Like I'm not a drinker because I haven't drank recently, right? So it's the same thing. Just because you used to do something doesn't mean that's the case. If you no longer will do that, that means you have an attraction for it. That means the Rollo's claim men don't have an attraction for it is false, right?
No, that would mean that men could act on non-having. Men could go past their attraction for it if they choose to.
So I just looked it up. Somebody sent me a link to the Department of Health, and they also have not outlined anywhere in the document that it is illegal to get a paternity testing anywhere in the States, and it is a United States government document. So feel free to look through it. Control F, illegal. You'll see there's nothing there. The main barriers is going to be prohibitive costs.
I mean, that's good, but what about my brothers in France and Germany?
They should advocate for reform because it shouldn't.
I want to see if it's like right when the child is born. I want to say it's at the hospital thing. Like you're not allowed to get it tested. Like if you could search specifically getting it tested right when the baby is born at the hospital. I want to say that's the thing that's illegal.
You need proof.
I'm on my phone here. Like my studio is at a whole different place.
I'm not going to do heavy lifting for you because I've established multiple sources now. That
well, you're already doing the heavy lifting. You're already doing it, so I figure you do more.
I'm not going to look for whether or not it's happening at precisely the moment of the child's birth. I don't think that that's very specific because almost all of this is about child support specifically and fathers getting away from it. I believe it is available at hospitals. However, there are some issues of like getting access for men in hospitals. You can read the whole document yourself.
Here's my approach to it all. So say say a woman divorces a guy, woman wants child support. So I feel like the woman should, before the woman can get any child support, a paternity test must be taken, whether the government provides it or not.
I don't really care.
Sure. They would disagree with that.
Not really. Again, I actually genuinely think that this is about a 1% issue. So like if there's anything you guys want to do to fix it up, you should advocate for that. I'm not really opposed to it.
Well, then all trans issues is a 1% issue too. So yeah.
Well, I personally don't care about trans issues.
Not a trans.
Can you show me? Let me show the screen.
Higher than that.
Yeah.
What's the percentage of trans?
How common is
I believe
paternity?
it's increasing. That's kind of
How common is the paternity fraud testing?
What is the source here?
Apparently, paternity fraud testing is very common in the United States and around the world. According to the American Association of Blood Banks, a research report was submitted by accredited parentage laboratories. The results show that 3 out of 10 men tested were found not to be the biological father. Okay, so that's about 300,000 DNA paternity testing analyzed. That's roughly 100,000 men deemed not the father.
Website? What's the name of this website?
Immigration. Hold on.
Immigration DNA testing. And
DNA testing online.com.
Do you think that DNA testing and paternity testing services is the best source for accurate information about parental paternity fraud?
These are the cases we got. You asked for results. I'm bringing up. I just Googled it, pulled it up. Here we go.
I know that study. I've already
So
told you that study has been fabricated.
Where's the proof that you could say that study's been fabricated? Just because you say it?
Yeah.
I don't believe that. Just
Yeah,
because
because
you
I
say
said
that.
that's my source. Yeah.
Just because you say it doesn't mean it's.
Bro, that's the source that I'm
Pull up
giving
the
you.
source.
Sure. Okay.
Pull it up. I'm just saying. You're saying this test is wrong because you say it is.
Yeah, you can't just claim
That's
that.
what I'm saying. Yeah.
You're saying just because you say it is. That's exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, that's exactly what I've said.
So back up your claim.
That's literally not what I've said this entire time.
But you haven't proved it. You haven't shown it.
Yeah,
I will send you
back up that
research
claim.
on.
Because that looks pretty convincing to me.
Are you guys gonna read it? You're gonna read the source when I send it to you? Okay.
Absolutely.
I already checked it out.
Did you Google it?
And it was accurate. You were right.
It was 1%?
It's just that there's barriers.
Wait, you said
I have
you
a-
checked it out, and you've also verified sources saying that it's 1%. Joe,
What?
you said that you've also checked it out, and I was right that it says around 1%.
No, about paternity being being
fraud.
legal to have a paternity test in every state.
Right.
Like,
There's-
the
there's
reason why it's a
barriers, man. I
big deal.
think- I'm
The
sorry?
reason why it's a big deal at the hospital is because when you sign the birth certificate at the hospital, that's when you're set. That's when it's sealed deal, and you're on the line after that point. You're officially going to have to fight to remove anything, any child support or anything after that point.
That's
so
true.
that's
Yeah,
why they fight very hard to not have the paternity test at the hospital right when the baby is born. Yes, can you go do it afterwards and do it all like separate with just the child behind the mom's back and stuff? Yeah, you can, but you should be able to get it done right then at the hospital. So then you don't have to worry about signing the birth certificate.
Yeah,
I
I mean, that's going to be a little
actually the
awkward, but got to
That's a
protect
good
the
argument
bag.
for why it should be, and I'm fine with that. I've never been opposed to
Yeah, I
any
would.
paternity
Yeah,
testing
yeah,
ever.
like,
So if
that's
it needs to
really
happen,
good. Like,
and I gotta
yeah,
think about
you
the
should get it.
barriers,
You
sure.
should be able to have it right then
That's
and
fine
there.
with me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's why those laws are messed up. Those are the laws
I
and
agree.
like
I
every
agree.
guy needs to
I
be
mean, I agree that's messed up. I feel like that's like, in terms of like importance, that's like one of like, there's things that are way more messed up that like we should probably focus on as a society. But yeah, sure, I think that is messed up and we should change that. But I just think there's way bigger fish to fry.
And I don't even
Okay,
think
here's
if
a
we go
study
back to
that
May
signs-
switching.
But
So
see,
the
like you
study-
think that because it's not you in that position. Anybody thinks like we have bigger fish to fry when we're not the ones facing it. And like I'm not the one facing it either, but I
That's
know
not
many
what I'm
people that
arguing.
are facing it.
That's not
So-
what I'm arguing. So I just linked to you something that found that paternity fraud happened in this study at a 0.2%. Is when that one occurred. I'll continue to find you more studies about paternity fraud, but I'm going to tell you right now, they're all low.
Yeah.
Where's the link at?
It's
Sorry,
in the
it's
product
the side thing. That's the name of the. You'll have to look it up. I can get you the way, I guess, if you want it.
Is it the Guardian United Kingdom article?
It's the study in the Guardian. Yeah, you'll have to go.
But we are in America though, so
Isn't the Guardian like pretty biased though? I'm pretty sure. Well, I don't know.
They are.
It is
They are very
left-leaning.
slated.
Yeah.
Yep. So
pretty
that's why
The Guardian is very slated one way.
So
yeah, it's pretty biased.
go
Can't
to
have
the
that.
original source. Unless the Guardian has to post a retraction, it is unlikely that they falsified the research's actual percentiles found, right? That would be crazy. You definitely, if you read the article,
Only
it's gonna
time
be
that
slanting.
would be a
Stop
case of
talking while I'm
somebody-
talking. Please
somebody's
just calm
like
for 2
claiming it.
seconds. All I'm saying is I'm willing to grant that the Guardian is biased. However, for them to falsify percentile numbers would be extreme, right? That would be a really big deal. You can't do that as a paper. You can't cite like actual incorrect data. You could slant it, but you can't say it's 0.2%, and then when you look at the original study, it ends up being like 15%.
What are you
That
talking
would
about?
be-
They do that with the false rape accusations all the
Does it
time.
say that?
Only 2 to 8%. That 2 to 8%.
That's not falsifying. That's
It is. It's
No,
misrepresenting. It's misrepresenting
no,
it.
it's not. No, the problem is operational definition. They're not falsifying what the data is showing. The problem is the data collection doesn't account for major forms of false allegation.
No, they're talking about 2 to 8%. They're saying 2 to 8% is the amount of false allegations. No, that's 2 to 8% that the police deemed uncredible, and they don't have any substantial evidence to support it. That's why they dismiss it. That's not a false allegation.
Okay, so I am listening to you. We are agreeing. You're fighting against me because you're going debate bro mode, and you think that we're against each other.
No,
in
I'm
everything.
saying the way that you're
Hold on.
the
I'm going to explain.
representation of the facts is not.
No.
The representation of what you're saying is
I
not
am
accurate.
literally, I am literally agreeing with you, Glenn. At this, I'm literally agreeing with you about false allegation. You're only fighting me because you feel a need to fight me on every point.
No, I don't. I really don't.
She's femsplaining. I'm just kidding.
The reason why the false allegation studies are a problem is not the same issue as what you're raising with the Guardian. So
What I'm
you're
saying is, it's the
Stop.
same. It's the same.
Please listen.
If the
Let her finish, dude. Let her finish. Let her finish.
Let me finish. What you're raising with the Guardian is you're concerned that it's saying 0.2% and that it is lying about the percentile found in the study. And I told you that would be a major serious fine for the Guardian. It's still possible that they did that, but I'm dubious. When you're worried about writing slants in newspapers, you're concerned about the language and narrative they put around the stats, not the stats themselves, because they're not allowed to fabricate stats. The stats you're worried about with the 2 to 8% is not fabricated stats. The reason why the 2 to 8% of false allegations is a bad stat to represent false allegations is because what they were testing for was police reported false allegations. They were not testing for cases of social media. So the reason why you're concerned about the
Nobody's saying
Guardian,
anything about
hold
social
on.
media.
The reason why you were talking about this is you were comparing the problem with the Guardian to the problem that occurs with false allegation research. And it is not the
What
same
I'm saying is that the way that they're presenting the facts, they're saying, oh, it's less than 2% or whatever. I'm saying the way that they're reporting the data could be incorrect and not factually based. They are factual stats, but they might not be reporting that that is the right number for as many kids that are being not biologically attached to the real father.
All right, guys, we're just going in circles. I want to wrap up. We're 3.5 hours in. I'm getting like ultra bored. Yeah.
Hey,
no
I
offense.
do have a question we haven't touched on though. If I could ask everybody on the panel,
If it's really
do you guys think it's unfair that once the mother has full custody or mostly custody, then the father can no longer do the DNA test without her permission?
No, I don't think that that's the case though.
I think that's unfair because
that's incredible.
Are you saying just because you don't have the majority custody of your kid, you lose all rights to do anything with your kid?
No,
Yeah, if that is the case, then I would say it's unfair.
Yeah, that's incredibly unfair. Like incredibly, like inhumanly unfair.
I still think there's like way bigger issues, but yeah, it's unfair.
I'm with Alex on that too.
Like,
someone in the private chat brought something up. I have to go all the way up for it. Hang on a second. It's like all the way. Let's see.
Oh, was it the relationships thing?
Think so. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I completely agree with that. That's the whole point of my show. I'm very against people staying single. I think that guys should be in relationships way more. I think it's way more healthy for you.
Defend that real fast. Because
Well, I
think,
mean,
okay, go
you
ahead.
get more social skills. You're going to get more sex, so you're going to learn more about it. It's mostly just being around women more. I think that the problem today is that guys aren't around women enough. I really believe in pre-selection. I have a lot of friends that are women. I've always been friends with a lot of women. I think
Okay.
that guys, especially today, the 25 and under guys, need to be friends with women because they're not getting socialized enough if they were raised with iPhones in their hands.
Okay, I found the topic. Okay, so this guy asks, is it better to get into a serious relationship and then grow and evolve as a man with the girl by your side, or grow and evolve as a man by yourself first, then get into a relationship? It can be argued that the guy's lack of experience will be turn-offs at best and deal breakers at worst for the women. I completely disagree with that. How is a young guy supposed to grow and evolve with a chick who is turned off by his
I don't think there's a better or worse. I think there's
There
different.
really isn't.
I think that guys should be in relationships. I think marriages are ideally that's what we want at the end of the day, to support a healthy nuclear family, to support proper just society. But I think that the problem with marriage today is the way that we do divorce. My issue is not with marriage in itself; it's the way that divorce is done.
Mine is, but okay. I guess they want to hear from Kyla about it. So, is it Kyla or Kayla? Because I've been getting both.
All right, let's let her answer the question and let's wrap up.
What's the question? Whether or not you should get into a serious relationship first or after you grow up, basically.
Yeah.
Is that the question? Just want to make sure.
Oh, get into a serious relationship and then grow and evolve as a man with the girl by your side, or grow and evolve as a man by yourself first, then get into a relationship. I have my own personal answer, but I guess they want to hear from you.
I think it's 6 of these and half a dozen of that. I think that if you come across somebody who is uniquely well partnered with you that you think would be a really, really good selection, I don't think that you should not get with that person because you feel like you need to grow up, because the chances of meeting somebody who matches with you super, super well is actually really, really low. I think generally people tend to grow up more and then find somebody because there's a lot of changes and shifts. And to be honest, when you haven't grown up much, you're not very dateable. You're kind of a piece of shit, so nobody wants to date you anyways. But basically, I think if you find somebody, you should go and get into a relationship. I think growth happens within or without a relationship. It's kind of 60s.
My answer got 3 parts. Okay, 1, no one should ever get into a serious relationship who's under the age of 25. No one under 25 has maturity to be in a serious relationship. I don't care who you are. I don't care what kind of other experiences you've had. You do not have that. 2nd, your leg count needs to be at least 17. If it's not at least 17, there's no chance because you don't know what you want yet. You know what I mean?
17 and
stuff like that.
17.
You need to be very financially stable.
17 seems like a very specific number. Why 17, not 16 or 18?
Yeah, it's just something I spit out.
Okay, so
You just need to be on your purpose as a guy and working your ass off and not chasing women. But the girl that really likes you, she's gonna see that you're kicking ass at life and you're one of those guys that's an achiever. And if she wants to be in a relationship with you and she's walking to your frame and she's a good woman, yeah, get into the relationship. It doesn't matter how old you are. Some guys are kicking ass at 21, 22, and they don't need some timeline of, oh, when I'm 25 now I get into a relationship. I really think that's ignorant. Everybody's different. Don't get me wrong, if a guy's super immature, yeah, maybe he needs to wait till 25 or 30. But most people, if they're on their shit and they're being adults or whatever, they're taking care of their own life. They're not living at their mommy's house. They're not doing that stuff. I got kicked out at 18. I've had a girlfriend living with me since I was 19 years old. I've always had relationships where girls lived with me.
Oh, yeah,
it's been easy for me.
My friend got married at 19.
Yeah, I agree.
Round things.
I agree with Sergio. I'm curious, Joel, what's your logic? Because 25 seems like an arbitrary number.
Wait, no, I just want to wrap up so bad. Can we?
Let this man go to sleep.
From my experiences and just being around all the people I've been around in my life, I'll be 41 in a month or two. So I didn't really start entering adulthood until I turned 25. That was when the high school bullshit was over, the college bullshit was over. Okay, let's see if you can go out there in the real world and do your thing. You know what I mean?
Isn't that just your stuff though? Why would you give people prescriptions based on your personal stuff?
Yeah, there's a lot of people are different, bro. There's 14-year-olds that are grown ass men.
That's true.
I was complaining about being bored but fucking fought with Subway Surfer for an hour straight, okay? I don't want to hear none of your shit. We had to
just because it's getting long. We're going on 4 hours and we're just going in circles right now.
Yeah, we spent an hour with Subway Surfer.
I agree, but I feel like that was more engaging or entertaining. I don't know. Anyway, I do want to wrap up.
Alex, it was not entertaining.
What?
It was not entertaining, bro. That guy, I don't know. I've said this a million times, but bro, you should kick people like that off in like less than a minute.
Well, the views dropped.
I know the views were good, but yeah.
That person, so most people seem to enjoy it. But anyway, all right. Appreciate you all for coming on. It was a good discussion. Check out Sergio Purple Pill podcast. I was on last night. It was a good discussion. Check out Kyla at Not So Erudite. She has some good shit as well. I don't know if anyone else here is a content creator, but yeah, appreciate you all. Tomorrow we're gonna be back with a really good debate. It's gonna be Andrew from the Crucible versus Farah. That's gonna be pretty epic. We're gonna have a hardcore Christian fundamentalist versus a feminist. I'm pretty excited to see how that one turns out. So stay tuned for that, guys. I appreciate y'all. Take it easy and have a good one.